All right, guys, what is up? This is the Cloud9 podcast, season 1, episode 2. We had an amazing, interesting LEC/LCS 2021 Spring Split Finals. Both regions had best of 5 performances. It was actually insane to see, both of the regions go head to head and see, obviously, the matches go with finally history being made in several different aspects. So for the LEC, they finally have a new winner since 24 no no not well yeah since 2014, since Alliance. Yeah, so it's been the first winner for a while, actually. So pretty much, for anybody that doesn't know, Fnatic and G2 are pretty much the kings of Europe, as people always say. Fnatic's won a lot of splits, G2's won a lot of splits. There's that period where Alliance beat Fnatic before they beat them during the LCS 2014 summer split. That's why Alliance was the first place team. That's why they ended up in Cloud9's group with Najin Whiteshield and Kaboom. And then because since Fnatic got the second seed, they ended up with Samsung was it Blue? Yeah, they ended up with Samsung Blue. So them getting second seed actually hurt them. And then later on, Fnatic won 2 more splits, and then you have the G2 era where G2 won 4 splits. Then Fnatic won 2 more. And this is the interesting thing about G2, because people keep saying, oh yeah, Team Liquid won back to back to back to back. G2 did that twice in 2 separate eras of EU. They did it for the EU LCS when Perks came in with Trick, Hybrid, Emperor, and Kikis. And then he did it with, obviously, this G2 lineup that just got broken up last year in the 2020 offseason. So, lots of history there in Europe. I know people always say, it's not exciting seeing the same teams win. That is the most brain dead horseshit logic I've ever heard in my life. If they're the best, I want the best team to win no matter what. I don't care what the reason is. It's not a freaking popularity contest. You know what I mean? I just want the best team to win no matter what. That's just me personally. And so for the LCS, you've had CLG, TSM, Cloud9, Team Liquid win. Cloud9 finally getting 4 trophies. They won 2 with Sneaky, and they've now won 2 with Sven. And Perks and Sven are the only EU and NA winners right now. Perks has won every single split since 2019 between now LEC and LCS, man. And it was crazy. Perks doesn't have an MVP. I was trying to tell my friends, why is that Perks MVP? Well, he's not as good as the other guys. You don't even watch these games then. You just don't watch the games. You actually just objectively go in, not watching Perks or anybody else. You have narrative bullshit that you're spouting over here. It's the same logic I gave a while ago with High. Why did High never win an MVP? He was so integral to Cloud9, though. You know what I mean?
Who were the MVPs that High got? Because the MVPs for all of Perks' championship years were the junglers, as I was.
Yeah, Meteos got the Meteos was
nice, Kafta. I appreciate the call out on the boy.
Yeah, Meteos had it. Blabber's gotten it. Bjergsen got it a lot. Rush got it once. Doublelift got it. Doublelift should have got it a few more times too. Afro got it, obviously. So
in the year,
because you cut out for me, Blue. By the way, if you want to repeat that, 1 point.
Blue. Me? What?
Blue.
I don't know why I called you Blue.
I don't know why you called me Blue either.
Oh, because they're both white Kofta, right? We all look the same,
right? Am I still working right now?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, cool. That was the only question I would have, because what happened with Perks, as Thorin pointed out, obviously, was that Perks' junglers were the ones that always won the MVPs. Mm-hmm. So it's a question of when High and Sneaky in that legendary original C9 lineup was dominating and got their 2 trophies, who was the MVP for those years? That's actually at least a question just to check those relative parallels. And then after that, I mean, was it Blabber gets MVP this split and Cloud9 wins, and Perks is just still sitting there going, I got my trophy, still Baker of the West. I'm good.
What a lot of people do.
Oh God.
Because what a lot of people do is that they go, well, wasn't Blabber the best player? I think people need to look at regular season. MVP's regular season, not playoffs. You could just make it a different award. Be like playoffs MVP or regular season. Because I do think Alfari was better than Blabber. I think Dardoch had a standout split in and of itself. I think Afro had a standout split. You know what I mean? It's just like people love players so much, or certain players, that they just don't want to let go of them in some weird way, like Fnatic fans do. Like, you always say to Fnatic fans, hey, why don't you switch out Bwipo and Hylissang? Their playstyle's inconsistent. Well, they're not that bad. You know, they int and stuff like that. It's like you're just in this never-ending lose-lose cycle. If you don't want to switch people out, then you're never going to get better, or you're never going to see a different play style. You can't. I swear, people just love YouTube content so much where that's the only thing they think about. I see these guys on YouTube. I like them. I'm not even judging them by their gameplay. It's just, I swear it's good content.
I still think that Blabber was. Oh, hey, what's up, Warren? How's it going?
Welcome to the show, Warren.
We'll talk about TSM.
I still think that Blabber was. Oh yeah, I'm happy you're on, dude.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about TSM. Hey, but Warren's a prophet. Shout out to Warren.
Yeah, he got the G2 one.
He got the Mad Lions prediction. Warren, you must be a straight up prophet.
I personally still believe that Blabber is the MVP without a doubt. I actually thought that throughout the first 4 games, he was the best performing player on C9.
Oh, Warren, are you breathing on your mic?
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, we getting late or some shit? Getting fucking, some.
He ran to the podcast. He ran to the show.
I was just coming from the gym.
Appreciate the man's hustle. He's making sure he's got that medal in his arm.
But the one thing I want to touch on just before we start this crazy weekend we had for the LEC and the LCS is like, people keep saying it's weird, like, because I'm always in this like loop thinking. I'm thinking to myself, people always say LCS is bad. It's always bad gameplay, bad this, bad that. I mean, it's just bad everything, right? At a certain point, you just got to go think to yourself, if you think it's this bad, why are you still watching it? Like, isn't that not smart to do? Like, if I
did you hear my take on Hotline League, it was exactly this, dude. Like,
oh my god, great minds think alike, don't they?
Yeah,
it's like, if it's this bad, stop watching.
I don't understand how you can watch that series as a League of Legends fan. That's C9TL one, at least I'm talking about. And not at least be hyped and excited. Like, you don't have, like, there's time for analysis and stuff for sure, but like, of course that was a great series, man. How can you watch that game 5 and at the end of it be like, yeah, whatever? Like, if that was your reaction, I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, it was like one of the best finales to a series I've seen in quite a long time. There's definitely,
there are mistakes though. Like,
of course.
To be fair, it's exciting. It's always exciting to have that. And I just don't know what people want out of watching League. Do you want excitement? Because you're never going to get perfect gameplay. Even in basketball and baseball and football, you never get perfect gameplay. I just don't know what people want.
I think it's haters exposing themselves. I'll be straight up. I really do.
You think LCS is that bad? I'm gonna take this front. Stop watching. There's 3 other leagues to watch.
Exactly. Other games to watch too, if they really want to.
And you know what was so disappointing to me, dude? Like, for me, definitely C9 bias here, but for me, coming out of that series with so much excitement, and then right away watching talk show after talk show, belittling the entire series. No, of course I don't need to listen to them, right? Like, I'm a mature person. They can have their own opinions. I can have my own opinion. We move on. But the first thing that comes out of majority of the analysts take on the whole series is, wow, the first 4 games sucked. Like, really though? Did they really suck in comparison to a lot of the other series that we watched? Because I genuinely didn't understand.
I understand certain things, because there were mistakes in these games no one points out. Like, they did play bad at certain moments, but everybody plays bad in some games. Are we gonna just, like, it's not, I hate that concept, man. It's not just an A that plays bad. Do people actually watch LPL? I've seen some. Have you seen Road Warriors? Oh my god.
Are you going to tell me you watched the Rogan Mad Lions series and in game 3 thought that? I was just so confused. Like, well, that series was objectively a throw. That was a throw. Like, it's the definition of a throw.
The nation of his title right now.
Why is it that I understand the Zoe draft was bad? Like I get it. I agree that it was bad. But are you kidding?
And just kept losing to it.
Yeah, I just didn't understand the takeaway after game 4 was that draft was bad rather than holy shit $11 million bubble. Like, how was that not the on forefront of everyone's mind? This was like one of the most iconic plays we've seen Perks make in NA. It's like Double Lift's Lucian turn on C9 the way back when in the mid lane. It's like Jensen Zanya's missed. You know what I mean? It's like it is going to be a play that we talk about for years to come. And people are going to talk about the draft. Are you like I'm the biggest draft maniac here? I bet, but like it just makes no sense. There's time and place for criticism and cynicism. I just didn't think that it was appropriate. Like the day after such a, I don't know, one of the first hype things we've seen in NA in a long time. Anyways, rant over.
Well, what I liked from both regions was it went to best of fives. Like look at both regions. Most of them went to 3-1, 3-0. Except like I think the beginning of what was it, LEC, and that to me shows that like the top two teams gave it their all in the final game. So I appreciate that, and yeah, I think it's just nice to see that teams competing at a high level and giving you entertainment. I think people have this like, I call it the New York City syndrome, where no matter what happens, it's just not good enough. Like when someone plays for New York, you could do great things, but then they can just turn their back on you instantly in the city. So it's like, it's one of those things where they're never going to be satisfied. They're just going to find something picky to pick about. I'm sure when MSI comes up, they're going to be like, well, NA got like the easiest group or some, which they kind of do, but that's another topic.
Oh, you cut out. What were you saying? Your mic's messed up a little bit. What'd you say?
No, I was saying that like, no matter what happens, people are always going to find something picky to say.
Oh, it's true. Like nothing will ever be good enough if you set your standards. Like, have you guys ever had those people when you talk about movies and they're like, well, this new movie comes out and this dude's like, well, or say, I'll make it easier. When a new superhero movie comes out and this dude's like, well, was it as good as The Dark Knight? Well, no, because Dark Knight's one of the best comic book movies ever made. Like, if your standards are like that, you should be watching anything, because that's like,
that's a great analogy. That's a great, because it's like you can still enjoy the new movie without having to compare it to the greatest of all time. Like obviously, if it
like, well, was this movie as good as Godfather? No,
exactly. I'm not saying this fucking final was SKT versus Rocks Tigers here. Like I get it. There's levels to this, but
was this movie as good as The Room? Like,
oh god,
Mark, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. Oh man.
Oh, but man, I don't know, man. It's one of these things where, like, so people have always asked me too, like, why don't you analyze games more? I do actually analyze them. People's brains are just too fucking small and they're not real. I'm not trying to sit here for hours and give you guys that shit. I'm really not. There's other people better than me that'll do that for you. I'm just giving a general opinion of what I saw happens in a game, and I just go over it. And, obviously I might miss some stuff. That's going to happen. It happens to all of us. You know what I mean? Like, people didn't notice that Cloud9 actually threw some of those games too. How are you winning that hard in game one and you just completely throw it? Tactical, he stole a Baron with a Zyq. Not the Baron, the Elder Dragon.
They didn't have it. Neither team had their jungler there, but yeah.
Dude, literally, like, fucking Fudge had to do a TP flank onto Alfari to get them into a winning position to win. What was it, like game 3? Like, it's one of these things where I get it. You have to kind of factor in for this all people too. High pressure situations mean the players do something different. No one's going to play the way you want to, and the players don't have to play the way you want to. Why should they do that? Why did they build this item at 4 minutes in? Why? Because they didn't choose to. They just, like, that's just how it is. They just didn't do it. That's it.
Yeah, I thought,
okay. Analyst at its best.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think our biggest, like, I think there were two naysayers, or not even naysayers, maybe devil's advocates that were very prominent, and that were LS and Thorn, right? Like, those are the two figures we're technically referring to when they're talking about, is this really a great best of 5 when the first 4 games sucked? That was Thorn's take. And then LS's take was
everything's trash.
Yeah, everything is trash because the draft is really bad and nothing went according to draft. Well, here's my counter to LS's point. I see where he's coming from, and the way that he's framed the game makes sense from a standpoint of, let's break down something into conceivable notions. And his main takeaway with regards to what is a good versus a bad draft is, does your draft give you multiple chances to win? That's what he calls an honest draft. So like Seraphine, for example, if you lose a team fight with her, it's okay because you still can win the next team fight or the team fight after that. And she gives you multiple chances to win. Karma for him is the same exact pick, or like very similar pick in that regard. And I get where he's coming from with regards to that. But I think he's oversimplified it to a point where we're starting to miss a lot of nuances, because we understand that Seraphine in Perks' hands is not ideal compared to a carry. Another take that I have is, yes, Renekton in isolation might not be great because if you lose one team fight with him, he becomes useless. But he allows you to have a massive advantage in that first team fight that you wouldn't have had without the Renekton. So yes, if you make a mistake, that your chances of winning the game go much lower than if you had a Seraphine or a Karma or whatever in that pick. But your ability to win that first team fight is also a lot higher. So you have more control over the game, is my point. You have more agency over the game. And there are actual benefits to both styles. And I think that we go too far in calling it a black and white type of thing. And that was my biggest like criticism of LS. I even if you don't like the thing, like the draft, to turn off the game after game 4, it kind of to each his own. I respect his opinions a lot outside of this, but like it was kind of a BM move in my opinion.
It's one of these things where like, if a LPL or LCK team played like that, no one would call that BS out. I'm just saying, like, they wouldn't. And I guess it's just how people see things. It's just one of these things where it's like, how would I say this? Like,
are you saying that LS doesn't burn the shit out of like at least LCK?
I'm not talking about them specifically.
Are you talking about him or about Redditors? Because I'm about to be done with us having an apologizing to the public hour.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
I have a rule.
Let me make it very clear. I'm fine with LS saying whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not going out there making analysts be like, you don't agree with my take, you're wrong. No, he's allowed to say what he wants. I just think that he comes off too black and white, and he obviously garners a lot of followers who believe in everything that he says. Like there are elements to this. There's levels to this.
That's
and he's no, it's not a call. He is simplifying a very complex issue for viewers to understand, and I really appreciate his ability to bring to light a topic that no one even talked about in a complex manner or a detailed manner. So I really appreciate where he's coming from. I just think that there are levels to this that unfortunately the layman or the casual viewer will never really understand it. So they'll kind of just pick up a topic based on their favorite personality.
Why I don't have issues with how they think about the game. It's just more like in the way of, it's just not the way I see things. And it goes into this, like, nothing, the way they or other people think about the game is that, like, my friend thinks the exact same way, because I've dealt with those personalities before. The friends that I talk about League to, it's like, you can't expect a team to play perfectly. I don't know where that comes from, though. No one will ever do anything perfectly, no matter what the situation is, given any type of scenario. You know what I mean? No one can really play absolutely perfect to a T, no matter what the perfect draft, because there will always be something in the game that happens that throws your game plan off. I don't think there's, like, how many games ever throughout the history of League has anybody played perfectly?
I think Nightwing, in that case, you actually agree with LS.
Yeah, you do. Like,
yeah, that's LS actually what he's saying.
Yeah,
that's what LS says.
And I agree.
Yeah, LS runs on the idea that you should be drafting.
I'll be back.
There we go.
There we go.
If the day I figure out how to fix that, I'll be happy. LS runs on a philosophy, and he's explained this before, where it's not about eliminating human error. That is an unrealistic expectation, and as unrealistic as LS sometimes seems in his takes, the idea is that you should be drafting in a way that removes the human error and the human input, and as long as you play out standard versions of the game or the comp, then your draft should equate to a win. The great issue is that when people run into these higher variance draft decisions or in-game decisions that don't make any sense, because he has the oh, how is it? I think he had a technical term for in terms of card games, but it's the inevitability of winning. I remember him talking about it in a lane freezing video, where Bjergsen was freezing on top lane in like a ranked match against Lorlo, and the jungler was not coming up to break the freeze. So there got to be a huge, 50 CS lead on Bjergsen's Irelia, and Lorlo's just walking around trying to find something to do. But the same idea should be applied into a much more professional situation where you have drafted to where you could contend or just outright win if the game goes late to super late.
Exactly.
So my thing is I like validity behind, like, I'm not gonna say Ellis is a bad person, or I disagree with that guy.
This is not the part of the show where we attack people's character. Keep talking.
No, I'm not gonna attack his character. But I feel like sometimes, like, I agree with the unrealistic thing, and like I always look at somebody's body of work, right? So I'm like, okay, all he's done so far is analyze, right? Where Jat has done the same thing. I've seen Jat done pretty good. I miss Jat actually on the desk. He was very neutral. Even when he cast with EU casters, he was very biased, and he gave great analysis. He was even the one that called the FPX.
Your mic is so cut. You're still jumping up.
Yeah, he was the one that called the FPX when in 2019. My point is, and sometimes I think first of all, I really feel like he looks at the Western regions as not as good. Personally, that's my personal opinion. That's not an attack. I just that's how I feel. And second of all, I just wish he would understand, like, he's not in the moment of like some of these drafts, and he doesn't know these players too. So like he's talking from like, if I was there, but do we know what he would do? Like that's the thing. Like we've only seen him coach like let's say in challengers with BBQ Olivers, which I don't even know if they still exist at this point.
It's
that's just he was a good coach. Let me just interject. He was a good coach.
I get what you're saying. It's like if you were in that person's position, it's like the same people in YouTube comment section for league videos. Well, I would have picked this champion in this moment. Your gold games don't count for that. You want to know why they don't count for that? Because that's on a pro play environment. A pro play environment has different things. You can't just pick Renekton when you feel like it because it might be banned. And what if your player that you're picking it for can't play Renekton or like can't play it as good as other people can? You know what I mean?
Anyways, yeah, I didn't want to go into this pigeonhole.
No, and that wasn't even about LS. I'm just speaking in general. Like if people don't like watching the LCS, stop watching it. One less fucking pussy is good enough for me to stop watching.
Whoa! I like seeing Vag. I don't know what's wrong with you. Just saying,
gross, man. Or it's like those fucking people when Sneaky got kicked off Cloud9. Oh, I'm not gonna watch LCS anymore because my favorite fanboy Sneaky's not there. Good. Less of you weirdos is fine.
Guess the new memes now is no perks, no G2 MSI.
Right.
Cloud9 was with no MSI.
Isn't that ironic?
We'll talk about that. All right, I forgot, guys. Warren's a prophet now. He's just the prophet of the fucking show. He just predicted everything. Who told you? You had the insider. You had the insider.
He didn't have the insider information for his own team.
No, that's fine. But you guys were here when I literally said I don't care. Mad Lions is winning it, right? I literally said that.
That was my luck.
Your take was looking real bad.
I have to admit. Warren, I have to admit that I sat there yesterday and realized I was going to have to come on this show and recognize that my prediction for G2 to win was
and they got dumpstered. They got literally dumpstered. I don't even want to hear anything.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. You're good, man.
This is the thing. How well would that translate into summer? Before we get into the finals, guys, one more thing. When people make their LEC 2021 summer split predictions, right, for the regular season, would you put G2 at like third? I don't know. Would some people do that? I don't know.
Wonder had Wonder had the worst series of his life. Right? I'll get into. I even said it last week. Out of my fucking
I even said it last week. He had been playing bad. The only good player that was standing out was Reckless.
Yes, but how many splits in a row have we seen him play bad and then just turn it the fuck up in the playoffs?
You can't count that every single time, though.
I understand. Now we can't count on that. But if it happens 6 splits in a row, you know what I mean? Like Now I will not. Now he has to stop playing WoW. It's not funny anymore, right? Like as Corin said. Like
I was gonna say the one thing
uninstall WoW because they lost.
I felt Mad had something to prove ever since Worlds because they felt like they disappoint their region.
Yeah.
So I had Mad. If I had to do, I didn't get to do LEC rankings, but I'm pretty sure I would have put Mad third. I think G2 just regressed, and I just think they weren't the like G2, and I think you guys would agree on this. G2 was the SKT from 2019, like I would say from the start of 2019 to about 20 now they were like the SKT of EU. Like you go up against G2, they're gonna make that miracle 10k goal fight. They're down 10k, but they can still change everything. And so it's like they just regressed and are not inventive. Where I see Mad has now be more inventive, but
Mad has
do
more
think
of that GT spirit about them now.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? People call me crazy for, aren't you a G2 fan? But you predicted damn one to beat them. Yeah, because they're the better team. I'm not so fanboy blindish like some people around fucking the community where they can't see past their team's flaws. Like, dude, literally after C9 won, I love C9 guys. I love C9, but to say like where are the fudge haters at? Are we gonna just pretend like this guy wasn't just hard griefing it like almost 9 weeks in a row?
Oh no, I have so many fucking takes. Okay, let me just start with. Are we talking about G2 or are we talking about C9?
All right, guys. So the LCS 2021 Spring Split concluded. As you guys already know, Cloud9 are our winners. They're going to MSI for the first time, which is crazy because they're the only original org not to go to MSI. TSM, Team Liquid, and CLG all went before. But before we get to that, TSM took on Team Liquid. So let's get the final words about TSM out of the way because I know there's a ton of TSM fans I watch. So let's talk about TSM. So TSM played like dog shit. They played good. They had like the 100 Thieves syndrome where they were winning some of these games and then just threw it. That one game they were winning when Jensen picked Annie in game 2. How did you throw that game? What is going on here? What?
I watched the LS highlight of that, like the 35-minute of it, and I just love watching him just get an aneurysm after aneurysm. I was like,
we're gonna win this.
That was atrocious. I want to say real quick before we start flaming TSM, someone save Spica. Someone please just give him a lifeboat. I really don't think.
I think at this point, TL buys Spica because Santorin and these imports and these import restrictions and
I just feel so bad for him.
I feel bad for both junglers in terms of their respective like shit shows, but yeah, Spica's the shining light on this team on TSM that appears to have the only amount of agency as a player, like regardless of what he's picked.
Yeah, honestly, I have plenty of criticism for Spica with regards to some of the early game pathing.
So I know people keep saying, "Oh yeah, I do this guy on Reddit." He was like, "You guys didn't analyze anything in your show." Actually, we did. You're just deaf. That's just how it works. You're just a deaf person. But let's analyze TSM's draft in game 1. Did they win draft? So this is kind of maybe a normal thing we're gonna do for the show, just analyzing the draft of a random game.
Please.
All right, so Team Liquid ban Nidalee, Nocturne, and Jace. TSM take out Thresh, Twisted Fate, and Seraphine. Alfari first picks Gnar. Now that's the blind pick, right? Am I mistaken on that?
Yeah, pause it right here. First of all, major credit to Jat and the TL coaching staff for both series drafts. Like seriously, major credit. They realized that Gnar was Huni's crutch throughout the this entire playoffs, and he doesn't have an answer to Gnar. He can't. He's not playing the Jace, so they knew that he was going to counterpick himself right here, and he does that. He picks Renekton into this matchup, and this is such. If you guys remember the game 1 of the C9 versus TL series. Guess what they left open? Seraphine. It was literally so fucking ingenious by Team Liquid to leave Seraphine open because they're saying, hey, we know that we're going to win on Seraphine because we can put Seraphine on to Tactical, who's not exactly a wonderful player. We can take Seraphine if we need to, but are you going to play Seraphine? And are you going to put Seraphine on your best player in this series? They've played the draft really well. Major credit to Jat.
Yeah,
I don't want to cry when I saw this, but
so look, I have a different take, Ryan. I actually think Power.
Whoa! Let me see that comment.
So Power Vivo and Sword are their good players though. Spica is facilitating them good, but like I don't know, man. It's a combination of two things.
It's a curse. TSM.
It's just
stop that nonsense right now.
Reverse of the curse, homie. You get a
He's
good
doing
jungler,
fine.
but
He's doing
Hey,
fine, man.
the jungler is doing good. We're
think
not.
about
The jungler's doing great.
We're not
think
talking
about
about.
Everyone
Well,
else sucks.
I'm not shitting on the jungler. It's the reverse of the curse. Pay attention to the words I use, because otherwise, the old curse was we get a top tier EU jungler, whatnot. They come on in next to Bjergsen and they get neutered hard. They get their balls cut off. And the best thing we saw was like Acadian before it goes into the summer split, and he gets equal time
for Greg, who ends up beating them in this draft.
which is great, which is an even better thing. It's like, oh, look, Greg's back and he gets to play in a non skill expression jungle meta. Perfect. Plug and play. It's it's like a Nintendo cartridge. Blow on and it goes. Now, what they have now instead is that they have a standout jungler in Spica who apparently just has like the stickiest hands in the world because he gets to steal any major objective that he wants.
I know, right?
And
even over Greg.
In NA knows how to secure an objective with CCing or killing the jungler or just zoning them away or making them go through chokes. So now they have a great jungler, but the rest of the team can't really do it. So reverse of the curse, same problem, different day.
I'll add to that.
Yes.
Go ahead, sorry.
So this is the thing with TSM is, and this is the thing that I said before the split came in. Realistically, to me, and still even after watch, they only have 2 good players, maybe 3 if you want to count Spica. I don't really think he's that good, but agree to disagree, right? I don't think they could ever beat Team Liquid or Cloud9 with just like.
Wait, who's the other 2? Wait. Spica's not the good player. Who's the good player?
If you're counting, if you're discounting Sword Art, then only Power V1 and Spica are the best players.
Sword Art.
I don't know about that one, man. I gotta argue that one, and I got good points with that because, like, I don't know, that's a little suspect on that one. Considering
for which one?
For saying that, I think you do. I think those are your best players: Spica, Sword Art, PoE. They're literally your best players.
Hard disagree on Sword Art.
Well, but
major disagree.
But even if they're the top 3, like, is Sword Art better than Huni in his role?
Are we talking about good players or better players on TSM?
Well, my point is that if TSM only has like 2 good players max, how could they beat Team Liquid in C9? That's not possible. That's why I had them rated low coming into the split.
Would you consider the top 4 in NA a good player, and everyone below it a bad player? Because if
I consider him an average player, not a bad player.
Okay. Well then, I mean,
I
don't know. If you're bottom 6 and you're on TSM, you should consider them a bad player because this team is aspiring for a lot more. I'm not comparing them to a middle. Of course, they're better than the middle of the pack NA team. They are. They're the 3rd best team in NA right now. So I'm comparing them per that standard. If you're below the 3rd best in your role, I consider you a bad player for that team. And in that regard, I think that Sword Art is a bad player for this team, especially with how much hype and money TSM put into him. He has not performed nearly to his expectations.
I think he has performed pretty well, man.
Like,
I think he's performed pretty well.
That?
I watched the series. I saw the difference.
I'm looking at his body of work of the whole. Like, think about this guy comes in. Well, I'll defend my point later. Continue. Okay.
But this is what I'm trying to say is that I don't think this iteration of TSM can win with these caliber of players. Not with max 2 good players. That's not going to win the league. Come on.
It's not going to win the league, but it'll get to Worlds.
That's sad. Our league sucks. Then our league is trash.
It is.
I don't know,
sucks, man.
It's just it's just development's bad. I don't think the league sucks. It's our developments that's terrible.
I just think that if you go Speak at Power Vivo or Sword Art Speaker or whatever combination you guys want to use, I just don't think this combination of players works. That's the reason why I had them rated lower. Now, I do think they overperformed to a certain extent. People thought they would be much worse with these guys. They did end up 3rd place. But to be fair, they spent a lot of money on their roster. Power Vivo's not cheap. We know Sword Art's not cheap. We know Huni's not cheap. I don't care what people say. These players aren't cheap. If anybody knows the history of these guys having buyouts and shit like that. So was this a disappointment split for TSM? I don't think so. But
I don't think so at all. I don't think so at all. You lose 2 iconic players. You make another Now think about it this way, right? Would we still be saying this if they made another gauntlet run and made it to the finals? Think about it. They just went 1 series away from making it back another gauntlet run in its second.
But how you win, how you get to 3rd place does matter, right? Like,
right.
Do you think? Okay, here's the way I'll put it. Are we confident? Are we really confident, like we were confident with Team Liquid last year in third place, that they would get past play-ins?
Yes,
I think so.
Listen,
I would say so.
I had no problem with.
I get Mad Lions vibes from last year about
Hell
this team.
no, Mad Lions was so cocky and stupid. That's why they're better this year. Oh no, I gotta disagree with that. Did you see how Did you see how they played?
They changed 2 players.
Yeah, and now they are the best in Europe.
And TSM changed 4.
True, but look at the hype and the disappointment they had. But TL since they've been to Worlds have been fine.
So are we trying to actually are you trying to run a critique at Mad Lions last year?
No. I'm saying that you can't look at how they just because they lost.
You're saying that this team would perform better than the Mad Lions team of last year in play-ins. That's what you were saying. Well, I hard disagree.
Well, this TL, or you're talking about the TL back then?
No. TL last year, I was very confident would perform well in play-ins because they were a very consistent team and they would always beat teams that were below their standards.
Yeah, they were.
My point here was that if they almost lost 100 Thieves, and trust me, there were games that they should have lost 100 Thieves that 100 Thieves didn't beat them. Do you really feel that confident that they would get past play-ins? And okay, fine. I understand that if you feel confident, you're allowed to feel that way, by the way. That is absolutely a valid opinion. I personally do not, because of 2 reasons, and they are lost in Huni, right? I completely
think
TSM. I'm confused. I just want to make sure
that Lost is that good. I think Lost is not good.
No, I just want to make sure. Are we talking about? I was referring to TL. Are you saying TSM?
No, I'm referring to if this TSM, this version of TSM, plays
TL. You said TL. That's why.
You were saying TL.
My bad. I apologize. I meant to say it matters how the team qualifies. And how good they look while they qualify. It doesn't matter just if they get third place or not. That was my main point. And what I was trying to say is that last year when TL qualified as third place, I felt confident in that third place team. I'm saying that if TSM were to qualify in third place this year around, I would not feel confident in this roster of TSM going into play-ins.
I don't know. Well, the thing is, I feel like this is not biased, but when I look at teams that have gone into play-ins, like I've seen C9 perform well when their team almost lost a Gambit that one time in the play-ins. They went to a best of 5. So it's one of those I can't say, but considering the pedigree of players they have, I would think they would do pretty okay in the play-ins against the wild card regions. I really do think they would be fine. Okay. I mean, I think they would do fine. Do I have some doubt that they won't get out? Yes, I really do have some doubts because you have Lost and Lost has never been there, and because that 80 carry to me is important once you're in the planes because you got to have that guy who can come in the end. But
speaking more from the general opinion for TSM is like
for me.
I was speaking for more of the general opinion as of like if 100 Thieves or EG would potentially make roster upgrades before we get to the 2021 LCS summer split. Does TSM's third spot is secured? Because like I'm not saying they're bad. The issue here is like I don't think they can win LCS with these level of players, and their coordination is bad. Do we not see that game 4 where they threw away at the dragon fight?
I still think they can.
I mean, like this is what like I want to compare. Let's compare. Like I think considering the first split. And all of them, like, I'm not trying to say that, like, well, TL made 2 upgrades, right? They got Alfari and Santorin. But considering everything, I think they're fine for summer. I mean, they've shown that they could beat C9. They've shown that they could beat TL. Granted, it's best of ones, and my stance on that. However, considering how they performed and how they overperformed, I think by summer, and since they're gonna play more games, I could see them as a legitimate third team. I would not want to send if anyone here, and I would argue this to a T. I would never send 100 Thieves to Worlds. No, not doing it.
My take would be EG. By the way, that's the only team that can compete against on TSM.
Unless you get rid of Definitely, nope. I'm not.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Both teams are an ADC away from becoming a competent team.
Oh, like 100 Thieves need a better mid laner. EG would need a better ADC, but it's like. and at that point, you're thinking to yourself, is TSM's third spot secure? But to be fair, they did do well this split with quote unquote mediocre players coming into it. Like, to be fair, Huni did play better than most people expected. I still don't think Lost is that good, in my own personal opinion, but the rest of the roster is fine. And for me, I just think that if you guys only think Spica and Power Vivo are the best players, I just don't ever see them winning with this. They need another star player, quote unquote, or they need someone else. They just need someone else. It's not going to work, man. I just don't see it.
You need, well, if Spica's going to shine any brighter, even with such a very bland jungle meta as we're having, like he needs a lane to play around, and Power Evil is traditionally not a lane that you need to play around. Like maybe help him bounce ways, but PoE is just this generation's Froggen. He's going to be in lane. He's going to be consistent, and when it gets to team fight later on, he's going to be a god. Now,
which is why they were trying to play around Huni.
Well, they were trying to play around Huni, but that's a 1 out of 3 coin flipped every.
You got gapped what people thought was going to happen to Fudge happened to Huni. Except
and
it happened
Fudge set up his jungler, and Blabber. I will get into this in the C9 series. Listen, dude, I don't care what people said about like Fudge had a great series. Yes, he did have a much better series than this was his best series by far. But this was a Blabber gap top lane.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
This was a massive Blabber gap, and I have timestamps to fucking prove it. And I can't wait. But
because
all I'm saying is
the difference.
Yes. All I'm going to say though, before we get to that, is that I personally believe that this meta, for the most part, has been about full clearing after full clearing after full clearing, and that's why our Mao looked decent against Spica. That being said, Spica's early game is not where I give him credit. His early game, I still believe, has a lot of work that needs to be done. It is his team fighting and his objective security where I think that Spica's shined, right? I don't think of Spica as the Blabber type early game dominance jungler who can take over the game on his own and then hand it off to his solo laners to carry the game for the rest of the game. And so that was my biggest takeaway. It's an unfortunate matchup.
Look at this
that Spica
disgustingness. Look at that.
Spica had smite there, which is actually the great tragedy of that moment, is that he dies after that goes down. So
this is the only smite he lost, by the way.
Look at this disgustingness. TSM's brains like literally collapsed. They're like, all right, guys,
I think they lost mental too towards this end. On the way they were playing, I just saw mental.
Game 4 was over. Game 4 was over.
They reverse 100 Thieves. Like 100 Thieves last week could have won some games against them. They threw TSM were winning in a lot of some of these games. It wasn't like they were just getting hard stomped every game, despite having the worst players. They were actually pretty competitive. That game 2 with Annie. Oh my lord! What are you people doing?
Let me summarize this with 2 ways. I think there were 2 major flaws for TSM, 2 massive flaws that they have not fixed since the split started. One was drafting. Okay, now I understand that drafting is sometimes player dependent, and maybe it was Huni asking for the Renekton. But I still blame. I still blame the coaching staff for TSM for allowing a Renekton pick in some of these situations. It is unacceptable to be picking Renekton as a second pick into a Gnar. If you don't understand that the enemy laner can be playing Gnar against you in this series, this late into the season, I don't know what you're doing with your draft prep. Of course, Gnar is going to get picked.
To be fair, I've seen in other regions where the Gnar player does lose to the Renekton, so it's like a bit of both. Okay. Like I'm not saying
with the Nidalee jungle, right? You're picking an AP jungler then, not Hecarim.
Like, how did they get into this position though? Where in the world are you winning this hard and then you just start losing? What
mental breakdown?
In the middle of the game when you're winning, you shouldn't be on the stage then.
Kofta, you've got to have a timestamp for when TSM officially start throwing this game, where it's the first game where Jensen has the Annie, and he just.
I don't have a single timestamp for this series because I'm really hoping we would skip past it. But
well, we can all agree that at this point in the game here, with how much TSM are stopping this, we're expecting this to be 1-1 going into the next piece. Yeah. This kill onto the Tristana slows it. Alfari gets out of this. And then what happens from here, sort of like, because that's where we need to sort of really ask the question. Like the mental
Sure,
boom is obvious later on,
But you can't be mental booming when you're winning like this.
No, exactly.
It
was not a mental boom,
I agree,
guys.
but like
at this caliber, it's not a mental boom. Okay, like these players are not mental booming in one of the biggest games of their lives.
Game four is when they mental boom. That's what I thought we would read on before.
Yeah.
So in game 2, the issue was Power of Evil is you right there. Oh, rewind that right there. That's perfect example.
Yes, sir.
He doesn't understand how to pilot Lucian. That it's as simple as that. It's not his style of champion. You can't be using Gale Force and Flash to engage a fight on Lucian. You need that to disengage a fight while outputting massive DPS, right? That's the whole point of the Lucian pick. You have unbelievable mobility and repositioning in the team fight. You can do that on Orianna when you're going for a flash shockwave. That's a good idea. You can do that on a control mage like a Zero when you're going for a Shurima Shuffle. That's a good idea. You can't do that on Lucian. That's not the way that Lucian's supposed to play the team fight. And I just thought that he looked rusty on the pick. And that's not to say that he can't improve, but I've never seen PoE shine on a pick like Lucian. And so either TSM has a wrong idea of what he can do, and maybe they're asking too much of him, or they had a different strategy in mind that just didn't go according to plan.
The strategy panned out until he literally just ran it down.
No, all this is right here is them not respecting vision. They have no vision on the red buff. They only have a little bit there on the far side. So CoreJJ gets to set up in the red buff, jump over, Kai'Sa jumps on, they blow him up, and they win the fight. This is like the secondary fight that TL needed to win to start reversing the whole shitstorm that was this game. Then we go to the next game. TSM are mentally booming, at least it's beginning, because they had a 10k gold lead here. They didn't win it. They had 3 Drake's Soul, and then TL find 2 fights, one that PoE fucks up because he overextends here, and then this one where they don't respect the vision and CoreJJ's godlike ability to find corners of vision and then dumpster them.
CoreJJ smurfed it on Rel this
it's
entire
barely that he smurfed it. They just disrespect the vision there. That's all I see.
But his ability to find engages on Rel, I've never seen anything like it out of
he's our Hillis thing minus the inting games.
I will say though, I'm tunneling on blaming PoE because I expect more from him. It's very obvious who the worst player on this in this series was, and that is Lost. You can't be a 5-1 Tristana and do what you just saw happen right here.
Yeah, that.
That's
a miscalculation of CC on deck that can actually end you.
Yeah, of course. Like this is just it. It's just pure and simple. Just
at the point when you're in the comms and they're everyone.
You win this fight, you win this fight, you get soul, you win the game. Anyways, I don't want to harp on this for too long. I do think that
also
TSM
credit to Jensen, because I know a lot of people keep talking about, oh man, the meta's the same, blah blah blah. At least he picked Annie. At least he's trying to do some new shit. I can respect it, you know.
Jensen played well. I'm not gonna.
I can respect it. But yeah, guys, TSM's done. We won't see them until about 3 months. So yep, that's pretty much it for TSM. Time to get into. Oh God! Time to get into Cloud9 finally taking down Team Liquid. They win their 4th LCS trophy. 2 with Sneaky, 2 with Sven. Anybody that says C9 would fail without Sneaky can, I don't know, you can just hold the most eternal L possible on this earth.
That's a year-old meme. Get it out. Let's go.
What do you mean? Oh, the Sneaky fanboy. Oh my God, Cloud9.
I haven't heard that in a while.
No, it was back in the day when I had the channel and the Sneaky fanboy. Oh my God, you hate Sneaky. Cloud's gonna fail without Sneaky. Yeah, they're really failing. Oh my God, they're garbage. I couldn't imagine it, man.
Memes now are fudge. Okay, we talk about fudge, whether or not we.
Oh shit, fudge.
Please update your meme folder. It should be full of fudge.
I will say that I was again. I told you guys last week. I was happy sending either of these teams to MSI.
All right, he's like, okay, I'm gonna predict for Mad Lions, but then say Cloud9's a better team to go to MSI. He's double prediction guy.
I will say, Warren, you got the EU part right completely, but I did predict 3-0 for Team Liquid. I was wrong about that, but I predicted a 3-2 win for C9 over TL.
I think I said 3-1 TL to win against TSM. I knew it was gonna be C9 TL final. I didn't think TSM were gonna win because you see that 100th series. There's no way TSM were beating them.
I will say, if I knew that Santorin wasn't playing, I probably would have predicted a 3-1 to 3-0.
That's who I feel bad for. Actually, I feel bad for that guy. He played because he's gonna be like, well, what if
Yes,
I
I
was
agree.
playing? I could have changed something, or
Yeah.
like that really sucks for him, and I really hope
I agree.
You could almost
psychologically that might bother him too.
there is a universe, especially with how long Santorin and a lot of these players, like Tactical is the only player that was not around for the lane swap meta. And so when you have Armeo coming in, he's only played with them since like during lock-in when Santorin was out on visas. So there is a part of this game 5 where TL actually like Santorin like knows what to do, or the whole team like makes their recalls. Core GJ doesn't have a weird switch up top, and they just figure out how they make the whatever map movements they need to. And this C9, Giga Brain lane swap Scion cheese doesn't go anywhere. And then, does Perks, if Santorin and the team have their whole cohesion, they know what they're doing, they get their veteran things, they make their callbacks on how to do with lane swaps. He
just stopped in time.
Yeah, does Perks ever even have the chance to go off like he did?
It's one of those maybes, what if, what it could is.
It is definitely.
Just,
or like, what if Perks didn't hit Tactical with that Zoe bubble? The game would have turned differently. Yeah, my gosh, so many turning points in the game. Like Team Liquid, I know people said it was a great best of 5, and it was to a lot of certain points. But to be fair, when Cloud9 is throwing like that, they were doing just what TSM did. People just didn't decide to talk about it. They were throwing in some of these games. Did we not watch game 1 where they're also up? I was at work. I was watching the game when I was like, okay, this is easy C9 win. They're going to stop this game. They're 5-0 ahead. Seraphine pick, healing the whole team up, run it down. Game's over. Go to the next game. Nope, they end up losing. What the fuck?
Yeah, can we at some point please talk about Karma, by the way? I still don't get it, and I need someone to explain it to me.
Also, yeah, guys, time to dive into the Cloud9 stuff, because Copty, you have the timestamps?
Yeah, I'm pulling them up because
okay. If you guys are watching, we have 9 people currently watching this. If you guys could please like the stream if you can, and after when you see the VOD up on YouTube, that's greatly appreciated, because liking the stream makes life happy. But yeah, it was the things where it's like Fudge has to literally flank Alfari to get them back into the game. They have to do impossible team fights to get back into the game. Cloud9 did play bad in some of the team fights, and it could have went easily in TL's way. Like, it really could have, and no one wanted to talk about that. They're like, well, you know what? TSM threw in their series. What the fuck's it got to do with Cloud9 throwing in some of their games? Like, what do you get? Like, where's the correlation there? Like, if you're gonna call a team throwing, you gotta call it out on both spectrums. It was, what else was the game where Cloud9 threw it? It was when Blabber was on Udi. I'm pretty sure it's game 1. Yeah, game 1 they were heart stomping, and that was thrown. Some of the games were like draft dependent, but what I mean, like,
honestly, I wish the thing I missed the draft, but did the Scion get blinded by C9?
That's a good question. I need to look it up right now. Let me go. Which game you're talking about?
Yeah, the last game.
Or last game. Let me go to it right now, actually. Let me go to BAM. And let's see. C9 versus TL. Here we go. Game 5, grand finals. Let's go right here. No, Geico. I don't want to save money on car insurance. I own a bike. All right. So I think I was trying to watch more of the game to kind of understand parts where I didn't get a chance to see. All right. Save there. So, what's up, Dylan? How you doing, man? Cloud number throwing and drafting like crap. That's true. That is also true. I agree. All right, so we have the game right here from Kofta right here. So let's knock it right now. So which timestamp do you want to go to? One sec, guys.
Oh, because I was gonna say I know there's a couple games with Scion.
Well, my bad, I was muted.
If I was gonna say the couple games with Scion, I would want to see Alfari copy what Broken Blade did and go on Darius. I would really want to have.
Dude, 5 games in a row, Blabber goes top lane and just gets first blood. At a certain point, why is he not communicating with Grig Armeo and being like, hey man, he's coming here at this moment every single game.
Spoiler.
You need to be
Spoiler,
here.
he did.
Well, there was a one time he did, and he gave over a kill. I was like, Armeo, what are you doing?
Oh no, dude. That's what I'm trying to say. Everyone thinks that this was just bad communication from TL's part in the top lane. Bro, let me break this down for you and just show you what art Blabber just displayed in this fucking series. His early game is. Are
you a C9
so
stan by any chance, dude? Are you a C9 stan?
I am a jungle stan, and this is a clinic in how to execute top
He likes
top
that.
lane ganks.
He likes that bush on his ankles. Rolling through the jungle.
Alright.
Telling bitches, get off my crab.
All right, so this is just game one. They don't necessarily know the strategy right now with what's going on, and unfortunately, without pro view, I have to infer what is happening in the top lane. Okay, right now, Blabber's going for a classic. He's pathing towards topside, and if you look at the mini map, Sion should be tanking the wave to hold it in front of the tower. Okay, he has enough health to do that. He is level 3. This is a thing that only Sion can do because he has an extra shield to buffer. So let's just watch this out. He gives up the bottom scuttle. He looks for mid lane gank. He says, okay, no bottom scuttle. It's time to go for top scuttle, and I know exactly what I'm doing right after. I did a full clear. We didn't have bot prio at the time, which if he had, he gets
level 5.
crab, right? And he's going directly for a double crab now. Now watch, Armeo can't do anything. He has no ability to play this because if he walks in to the Udyr, he dies.
He's just standing and looking at him like
He
he's
can't
gonna
do
hug him or
anything.
some shit.
And guess who has prio?
Now
Guess who
Blabber
has
does think
prio?
Fudge is coming down.
Fudge has prio to come in, but he has enough prio to go right back up and hold a wave before it crashes. This is like the sign of a top tier team right here. They know exactly what the timing is for the next wave to crash. So now Blabber's going for. The jungler's top side. His only play is to gank top. He comes top, blows the flash, right? Skip forward. This is the classic. Like, by the way, I don't think that Alfari had to blow the flash here. I think that is a mistake. I think that he can walk out and he should be okay. But now he sees Armeo. Look at his HP. So fucking low. Wait, go back. Go back like 15 seconds. More? When Armeo's on the look, he sees the HP, right? So guess what? Blabber fucking goes to his Raptors, knows that there's absolutely nothing that the mid laner or the jungle can do about it, takes the Raptors, and normal people would gank mid here and go bot lane, okay? Or farm from bot to top again. He realizes that if he goes top here, this game's over. And obviously, Armeo ends it here. This is you just have to back off and give up the CS, and Fudge probably would have won this 1v2, right? But my point still stands. That pathing right now in NA, only Blabber can do. Only Blabber can do that.
Okay. I know like the draft, but like I don't understand. Like I get the Scion's like really tanky, right? And I still feel like they would have still picked Renekton. So like why not? Like I see their comp, I'm like, okay, Alistar's engaging, right? You gotta run in Udyr. Why the Scion pick is what I'm trying. Like, what makes Scion better than say, I don't know, a blind Gragas? Like, I just don't get it.
Oh yeah, so sorry. The Kalista pick was so troll. If they had any other ADC C9 win, so yeah,
right.
like
absolutely correct.
I did not agree with the Kalista pick. Pick a Jinx, and they're gonna win the game.
It was actually I think they picked the Kalista for the Alistar, but I think that the Kalista Alistar lane was a troll as a whole. I think you need to pick like something like Senna Tom Kench.
I have a problem when you actually don't have a late game insurance thing. Like
correct.
Call it the Church of LS, but if you're gonna have Kalista, the initial premise of Kalista since forever is an early get ahead, and like you have a 2-atom power spike and you destroy everything. But the problem is that this is actually like a worse version of that G2 draft in the Rogue game where they had Seraphine and like 4 tanks and a Lucian or something like that, where there's at least like Lucian has got an almost late game aspect to him because of what Kraken Slayer gives him, because he can still melt tanks and he's still highly mobile or whatnot. And Seraphine just makes the tanks never die. Like even hyper carries like Azir and Jinx can't even penetrate. So I have a problem when you actually draft something similar to that with like 3 tanky elements, a mid lane Seraphine, but then you don't have an AD carry of consistent damage that's going to be able to shred through everything. Like you could almost contend considering what TL had. I can't even, I wish I had still seen it. You could have almost had like tried out the Kog'Maw, maybe. I don't know, just an actual central hyper carry or the Jinx, of course.
Not into the Rel, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but the Rel's the single engage. Who's following up that Rel engage? Like Nar's got to get it, but you got it. But they.
Yeah, but I'm just saying lane. I don't think Kog'Maw would survive. Personally.
Possibly not. Like Kog'Maw's not showing up anywhere for probably a good reason.
I think Jinx or something like that. You're right. But anyways, I still think that they could have it's again, it's a philosophy difference. Like if they still play it well, then they still have a larger chance to win that next fight playing this comp, because once you lose the first fight, then yes, this comp falls apart.
Yeah.
But I still think that there is a logic behind, especially when you go to like top level international events like MSI, where this style is actually better than the other style because they're just never going to let you get ahead. And you're never going to, you kind of need to create an artificial advantage for yourself as an NA team. So I think that there is validity in playing a style like this where you're drafting yourself some advantages, drafting yourself some cushion in the early game, and then using that cushion to try to play the game perfect for the rest of it. So,
and this is game 2. So, what did you want to go over in game 2?
Yeah, again, I just want to talk about this early game pathing and explain to people why top lane was a jungle gap. So, what did Armeo just do? He just hit the he got the scuttle crab for his top laner. He warded, and his mid laner is about to pink. Sorry. Yeah, he has. Look at the entire top side; it's lit up, right? No way, Blabber's going to be able to gank top now. That's what Armeo's thinking. No, and Alfari feels a certain level of comfort knowing that he's on a Gnar matchup into a Malphite. Watch what Blabber does. He knows exactly where that ward is placed. He's not going for his Gromp. He knows exactly that because Armeo hit that plant, he knows that that side could be warded. He pinks the river to make sure he's not spotted, and he fucking loops around every ward. Like, when I saw this happen real time, I was like, please, Azale, say something. Please. And he's like, fudge with the lane gap. I'm like, oh! Junglers never get any credit. How beautiful of a gank was this, man?
You can't
like, am I overhyping this?
You can't expect a world champion who plays autofill to recognize good jungle pathing.
Like, this is what I'm saying. Like that's just why I always like have some credence against, like, not credence, but like some skeptical about the analytical breakdowns, because it's like that's just smart pathing and knowing, like, once you know, even I know once you hit that orb, then possibly there's either one, a ward there, and two, I now know where you are. So now I have to figure out
exactly,
like just common sense. But like, I don't know, like sometimes they're just trying to hype up something. So,
and even in the middle of the game, at some point, Azale brought up, "Oh, Malphite's only down 30 CS. This is incredible for this matchup." I'm like, bro, he had amazing jungler pathing towards his lane that saved this lane, by the way. He's still down 13 CS even after this kill. He not only saved the lane, but he literally created a lane state that allowed him to farm 2 more waves. That should be illegal in this matchup. Like, this matchup state doesn't exist without the jungler. It was a Blabber diff, not a top diff.
So why were people saying that Blabber should have just downright just dumpstered Armeo? Why were people saying
he did? That's what I keep trying to say. He did dumpster him because
you have to adjust expectations. We have to adjust expectations. It has far more to do with the very subtle elements, and also whether or not the broadcast could even highlight the things. Because the ways that we saw Blabber dumpstering the league in the regular season is where he pulls out a Rek'Sai and then just becomes some assassinating, monster, which is a very obvious way of displaying him displaying that, or being on Olaf and doing some Yankos 1v2 bot lane stuff like G2 had early on in the season. So what happens here is that you actually have a very great pathing situation, as pointed out here, thankfully by Kafta, because I don't catch those things. And you're kind of like, that's a huge jungle diff. Like, you're providing all this vision. You provide Scuttle and 2 wards, and trying to give your win condition of Alfari agency here to really dumpster on what should be a pretty dumpsterable situation, especially early on before Malphite gets more items. And Blabber's like, nice words, cute.
But
I'm going to proceed to go around all of that.
C9 fans would be, but Fudge has gotten so much better, dude. It's not, Blabber's just facilitating him.
Yeah,
that's brain dead logic.
And here's the best part. Here's the best part to highlight is, as much as Fudge is, we're all going to have our own butts clenching, waiting to see if Fudge is going to be even serviceable at MSI. The reality is that the best top laner in the region just got first blooded 5 times in a row by C9 because Blabber and Fudge are on the same page. Now, you could have your own counter argument of Armeo's there with Alfari, but it's like, well, then Alfari should recognize what he's playing with. Or something to that effect. Like, and Armeo's play there is decent. It's just that
Armeo's play there works against every.
Blabber has no concern taking a very inefficient jungle path to land a gank and neutralize Alfari's ability to snowball that lane.
And you know what else?
Once is a mistake. Like once is a mistake. If it happens like maybe once or twice, it happened every single game. At a certain point, if you're not communicating that, that's your problem at that point. That means you're just like, you're accepting it's just going to happen and your jungler's not going to match this guy. I don't know where people got this word. Armeo, like Blabber should just clapped Armeo. I mean, you didn't watch the games, so you just proved to me. You just didn't watch shit. You weren't paying attention.
He did clap Armeo in as Eo said, a very subtle way. But here's the thing about that particular play I just pointed out, by the way. It is not actually an inefficient path. That's the beautiful play about it, because even if it doesn't work, he still gets to vertical jungle the rest of that game, because the red side of Armeo's quadrant is coming up, and Blabber knows this. So if the gank fails, guess what he's doing? He's doing golems, calling up his mid to dive top. I guarantee you that's what would have happened. And the thing that I have become a Blabber stan, and I know I have, and I probably sound deranged, but I haven't seen jungling like this in NA ever. Like, I look at LPL and I see all these like 3-minute dives top, and I'm like envious of how beautiful their early games can be. And
Clockwork.
the only time I've ever seen this in NA is through Blabber, and I can't hype this guy enough. Like, I understand that Perks needs his MVP, but if you watch this split, listen, man. Blabber deserved this MVP more than any player I've seen in a very, very long time in NA. And I'm so excited to see what he can do internationally. He's obviously going to go up against much tougher competition.
Fucking potentially TN and FPX.
We're ready. I think all of NA is ready to see how Blabber actually stacks up and how he deals with
Blabber is going to be... I'm telling you exactly, Blabber is literally the MLXG of NA.
Does that mean he falls off and goes into irrelevancy? Because that's not what I want.
I mean, like, Blabber has, like, we can all say MLXG.
No, he's gonna move to China and swap time with Karsa.
I feel like a reason I say this, like, Blabber has become like, it's either high highs or low lows, and that hey, I'll take it. So I feel like he's gonna have high highs because he has perks. Blabber's a pit bull that you ever have those like crazy owners that have a pit bull and like you think that dog's bad, but the guy's gonna like calm him down, but then when he really wants to unleash him, you see like the frothing. Like, Blabber's that pit bull that as long as they put if they unleash him, he'll do his job, or they'll just keep on like a little puppy pit bull. So
I guess that's. I mean, I don't know. I really am
what
too
about
much
the
of a
game
fanboy
5?
at this point, but
I know people want us to go over the game 5. The game 5 where they did the lane swap and the Tristana level 1 in the top lane where they killed Alfari on Cho'Gath. I don't know why Alfari's on Cho'Gath. I mean, I guess
no. That's a really good. That's a Smurf pick against the Scion. It's
right now.
Good pick.
Yeah. The pick off Cho'Gath is not a bad move, especially just because of how ridiculous Cho'Gath can get if he's able to get his stacks. 1, 2, his laning situation allows him to get free poke on Cho'Gath with his E, so he gets to just percentage health chunk you down slowly over and over. And he's also his positioning when you have perfect vision makes it look like a brain dead play out of him. The thing is that if he gets early advantage on at least how the lane is manipulating or moving, or just gets level 2 early their top side, he gets to dictate even more so of the matchup against the Scion. So he goes and gets an aggressive positioning there on that first wave, and then, oh no, lane swap. Oh, my butthole. Like, that's basically how that plays out. So you could sit there and be like, Alfari, what are you doing? But you get rid of all this vision, and it's like Alfari's like, lane's here. My guy's not here. He might be helping, start out red or start out a camp. I'm going to get early push on this so I can, just get control of the wave. So yeah, that's.
I like how he says, "Do it for Santorin."
So this actually, the beautiful part about this is obviously the timing of when they pull this out in the game 5 of, in the most important moment is when they pull out the strat that they've been hiding. This is not a novel strat, right? Like, we know that this existed. It just, they never invaded any of the level 1s. They never did anything cheese because they knew they had this in their back pocket. They almost conditioned the other team to believing in a sense of normalcy. And before they know it, they have 3 quadrants of the jungle. They're insanely far ahead. And you know what I've not heard any analysts talk about yet regarding how beautiful this was, the Trist pick. It is so important that they pick Trist in this because guess what? The whole point of the why lane swap disappeared was because bot lane turret would get taken down a lot faster, right? It has less armor, less plating, etc. When you have Trist with with explosive charge, that actually negates it for the first plate. You can still get the first plate in the one wave that you crash, just like the Kaisa will be able to. So not only do you not lose anything gold-wise from that, you're way ahead with your top laner, you're way ahead with your support ADC, and the only person that's even is the mid lane because the enemy jungler just lost a whole quadrant of his jungle. It's beautiful. It's the perfect start, and it was really cool to see, like especially live with.
I was sitting on my porch watching this with a blanket around my legs because I'm out here in Utah. It's cold.
I will say that
I was so giddy. I was waiting for some like neighbor to be like, "You okay there, kid?" And I'd be like, "Fuck off! I got this."
I will say that this is a little. It is smart, the level 1 swap, but this is a little worrying that they had to come out with this because I don't know if they're gonna be able to pull this. Huh?
What do you mean by worrying? In what context are you worried about?
I'm saying if you let's say they did this against Damwon, is this the same outcome like a win? That's why I'm saying it's a little worrying in that sense. Like
this was to me was exactly what I wanted to see because guess what best of ones are? This shit.
Yeah.
We are as NA fans, we've been the ones that get the shit end of best of ones every single time we go to Worlds. With the level 1 invades, the just atrocious planning for the start of the game. To see this out of the team that's representing you internationally is something that I wish we had since CLG stopped being relevant. Like CLG used to do this.
The big joke for NA is the fact that we're the only major region that other than EU that we do best ones year round, but when it comes to best ones at Worlds and MSI, we can't get out of them. Like everyone else is.
That's another argument for another.
And it's a very low res take there. The thing is that I'm not worried about this because this is a set play that they've had in their back pocket for weeks. And they look at their game 4 and go, no, we can win. We'll save that super special strat. And they bust it out here and be like, okay, let's put the cherry on this and out you go. Like,
yeah, exactly.
All I'm seeing here
I'm
is
not saying that's not bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that would this work against like if someone had the IQ, the other teams like the LPL, even PCS. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think they would pull this out against the other teams because teams in scrims would already know they're going to try this.
I think they would because you want to have practice and pull out set plays like this because you are going to have to test if they are going to be able to match this, even out the lane swaps, rotate as needed, not miss on any vision or get caught in transition. Like you just basically create an entirely different game state that they have to adapt to, and you likely have more practice on.
Exactly.
And therefore, if you can sit there and acquire your lead, maintain your lead, have a scaling comp or however, or actually snowball your advantages and not throw away anything or get fucking caught, you've got to win against Damwon Kia in a best of 1.
And that might be enough to put you against the EU matchup the next round once you qualify, rather than having to play against the LPL. That's the difference right there.
Yeah. One of the other things is like, I know people talk about this. Oh, they have to cheese to win, guys. This is a competition. You do anything to win.
I don't think it's a cheese. I don't think it's
like this. Reddit called it cheese. I was like, I mean, if
Reddit idiots, I'm not interested in Redditors. I'm interested in the people that I actually care about talking to, which includes you 3 idiots, myself, and any of the high analysts that we always listen to because they are deep in this. They're trying to actually figure this out and run analysis. So please get the Redditor opinions out of here. I'm uninterested in plebs that will not get on the phone call and have more than one simple take and be unable to counter the discussion. Now, if you cannot exactly call this cheese. This is a set play. This is a set play with like 3 layers of action that need to be executed well between Fudge being able to leash 2 cams adequately, nail it, them to be able to lay the bait. They get the free kill on Alfar because he just disrespects what he doesn't know. And then you have Perks just go off and be a godsend, which he's done this before on an international level when he basically carried G2 against the game 5 against RNG.
Guys, this entire series was actually so beautiful. Like me and a friend of mine basically spent 2 hours after the game ended just going over it again, just because we're absolute nerds when it comes to League. And like those ganks, for example, like we found those and we were just in awe of them watching it again.
You were with a guy alone in a room going over League?
In Discord. In Discord, yeah.
Dang it.
This is what we fucking do, dude. This is what I do for fun. It's really sad. Anyways,
metaphorically, we are each one guy in a room with 3 other dudes. It's not good odds for that shit.
Dude, there are so many plays here that are like never going to be understood by the casual fan.
Did Perks blind pick Silas in this draft? Didn't he blind pick Silas here? Because if he did, that's also pretty.
No, he didn't blind pick it. He last picked it. It was
last pick Sion. My bad.
Yeah, he last picked Sion, but also with how many ults are on the other side of that, and the fact that, and I love that Zale gave this info because I was curious about it the moment it got picked, and I saw the Cho'Gath because I love doing Cho'Gath and ARAM because once you get like 6+ stacks, I'm just auto attacking the rest of the mages down, but Silas gets to actually maintain the stacks of the Cho'Gath ult. So you can actually become as tanky as Cho'Gath can if he gets the max like 6 stacks on minions or even on champs. So what I love is that while the Silas ideally does want to be counter pick, like have a good counter pick in lane, it's still looking at the other 4 ultimates, and the other 4 ultimates on that team are actually very good ultimates for Silas to have.
Exactly why he ganks top, dude. That you nailed it on the head. Like I think it was actually like halfway through where you are at here, Nightwing.
Yeah.
The way that he ganks top, by the way, he walks through 2 wards. Remember what I said about what Sion can do in front of his turret that only Sion can do? Freeze the wave against a bruiser. That's exactly what he does. Can you actually look at that, dude? It's actually it's worth looking into. I don't remember the exact time. Just keep going back to their last kill when Silas ganks top.
I see.
I promise you, it's worth it. Like,
so it's around the 2 kill mark. This is when they killed Jensen.
No, they didn't. They didn't get the kill, so it's a little before that.
Okay, so it has been 4 kills around. Has to have been.
Was it? Goddamn. Okay, maybe I'll look for it on my own and then I'll post it so we can share it. But what basically happens is Silas walks through 2 wards while Hecarim and
this play by Zen. This is one people keep looking at about how he changed his team fight. Let's go.
See, this was mechanical prowess, which I'm not as interested in.
Just saying. I'm just saying, guys. Sneaky wouldn't have did this. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Holy shit. Hotline League, man. I haven't been a Hotline League in ages. I haven't watched that show.
Hotline League can suck my hot dick. I hate that.
Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just kidding. Everyone's really like that. You're like, what league show?
Their show just got a lot gayer than I expected. I'm okay with it. I just need to adjust my expectations.
Just make sure you use sandpaper. That's all I have.
Oh my god.
Hey,
so Sven kills Core JJ. Duels tactical, jumps over the wall, and then jumps again. And then evades tactical, and then Fudge also lives too. Good God. And then tactical's all alone with Perks. That sounds hot as hell. And then he just dies. Good God.
Oh, it's 6:30 in the game. It's 6:30 game time. That's
sorry, Vin Diesel was outside. I had to respect him.
Yeah.
1 sec. 6:30 game time.
I'm Groot.
Before the setup, so maybe go to like 6:20 just for the setup.
Put it back a little bit right here, 6:30. Okay, there you go.
Go to 6:20. Yeah. Okay, so Silas. This is fine, right? So Silas shoves a massive wave. Nothing Victor can do about it because he gets his support to help him shove. Now look at this. He's about to walk through 1 ward. Doesn't matter because look at what Sion's doing that only Sion can do. Freeze the wave right in the face, even though it's a slow push. They have to push it in, so they full commit to pushing the wave. And guess who's here? Silas, like clockwork. It is so beautiful.
Hecarim ult and then kills Ofari.
Yeah. Now I actually think that was a misplay by Perks. By the way, he should be stealing the Cho'Gath ult, anyways. But
nitpicker.
Yeah. Beautiful setup, right? And that's what C9 was doing all game, which is why it's so impressive to me. The level of competition that these 2 teams showed in the last series before someone's going to MSI, it makes me feel really good about both teams, honestly. The fact that TL did this with the sub jungler, with Jensen playing out of his mind, honestly, this entire series.
This play right here. Just
Yeah, he had some hints. I agree.
Oh, the Silas play where he went like
just
1v1 in a side lane and he just died. That's what was funny as hell.
Yeah, he like dove top lane turret on.
He got
kill
way
Victor
too hypey. He got way too hypey, dude. I was like, Perks, what are you doing? You're over here diving when you don't even need to. It was like, I think it was like right after this play, right?
And that's why I was.
Somewhere.
No, it was a top lane play. Yeah.
Yeah, he TP's behind him. It was before this. It was before.
Yeah,
way before those.
But this TP was just. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Are you a Perks fan now too? Oh, bye,
What do you mean? I was a Perks fan.
Oh
Always.
my god. Guys, I love it. All right. But that is pretty much it. Oh, good God, I don't want to see this. Oh Lord, please.
This is it. This is it.
No,
this is the one.
At this moment, he knew he fucked up. He just has to keep going, Drew. Just keep going.
My mind's telling me no.
You got it, dude.
My asshole's telling me yes.
And you know what? These are the types of plays that I bet like the casual fan saw and was like, we're like, this is a clown fiesta, and they never really picked up on the subtlety of jungle pathing or like the brilliancy of the strategy and setting it up over a long series.
Jack's just sitting there. Jack's just sitting there like, this is why I paid for Perks. Also, this is the same thing I called out in one of my C9 videos I made before the LCS started this season. I was like, this is what Cloud9 has never had in the mid lane outside of all of their mid laners. Mechanical prowess to a certain extent and clutch factor. Niski and Jensen never had a clutch factor. They were Jensen was the highest mechanical player out of all those two, but like he never had a clutch factor. Perks has the mechanical prowess and he has a clutch factor. That's what C9's always needed in big best of fives like these, So I'm glad, C9 get to prove people wrong. People said Perks is going to come here and retire. Well, I mean, you can hold your L now.
I don't think he's going to do. I think he's proved that.
I mean, to be fair, even like Sword Art didn't come here to retire. Sword Art wants to win. He doesn't. Like, Sword Art doesn't want to just sit there with TSM and just get third place. Let's be honest here. And the way Sword Art played to me, I thought he looked pretty solid in some of his games. I thought he wasn't just just around.
I don't know if you guys watch TSM Legends, but when he does, Sword Art is calling out plays. Like
he's very, very vocal. He's always
very vocal, and they're listening to him.
I remember one of the episodes, he was like, hey, just watch me, eyes on me. We're going to do this. Blabber's like, no, not Blabber. Spica's like, we're going to do Baron. It's like, you don't need to do Baron right now because it's not the most optimal thing. And they just didn't lost the game. I was like, they got to shore up that. They need to find out who's the leader and just listen to that dude. Like, they got to keep doing that. Or if it's early game, pick a leader. And then if it's like mid to late game, get self-made. Let's talk about Europe then. Let's talk about Europe. So Cloud9 are the LCS 2021 Spring Split champions. Now time to talk about the LEC. Let's go.
Can't wait for this.
Can't wait for this. Oh no! All right,
I called
Warren.
the G2. I called the Rogue series, and I called the GT's the.
So Warren, what kind of profit juice are you smoking? Because I'm gonna need some of that shit.
It's just.
Hey Warren, can you finally explain? Can you be the one to explain to me since you called it? What the fuck is going on with Karma? Please just explain. I need an explanation. I can't. Yeah, I've watched every Karma game now. I still can't figure it out.
Well, I said he was going to have Reckless on it because he wanted to get rid of the Gargoyle G2 fans. I'm like, you're going to be a Gargoyle now when you're not going MSI. So, I mean, it's just how that works. I mean, I don't know. If it's something they practice in scrims and they were like, okay, this is our best shot at winning, what can we really say? But it's like, it's one of those things you never really know. Maybe Karma is really good on this patch, and maybe people are just trying to like act in variance, right? Because people always say, why do people try to have what's that word? Diversity in some of the games in League. It's like, but when people do try those diversity type champions, they get flamed to death. So it's like, why try them? Why not just try what works? You're always going to be in this like lose situation, no matter what. Jen's got flamed for
you have to answer the question: are you here to please the crowd, or are you here to win?
But can you win by being diverse? But can you win by being diverse? I think you can. We
were asking 100 Thieves to do that. We were all asking 100 Thieves to do that by being quote unquote diverse, not following the meta of bringing in Ryoma Tony as somehow being an upgrade.
Tommy.
I'll misname him all I want.
I feel bad for that dude too.
Oh my god! All right, guys, my boys G2 are out, guys. My boys G2, they're done.
Thank you, God. There's a Lord.
There's a Lord. Oh god.
Yeah. So what? I just want to ask, what do you guys think this means in terms of G2's legacy? Is is it just a stumble, or do you
G2's
actually?
legacy can only be revived in this next split.
They've been
and G2
regressing. I just think they've been regressing.
They've been regressing since they ended Worlds, and because Perks got like around that time when his father passed and everything. Perks has been done with his time in G2 on account of he can't get back into mid lane. So when Perks leaves, they bring in Reckless. Reckless is not Perks in several capacities. He's a better ADC, but this team was not able to run a adaptation and perhaps even just play towards Wonder. As if you listen to the SI with Mac on, Mac's like, no, should be a play towards Wonder and Caps. Like these are your solo lanes because Reckless has not been played through. But the team just decides not to do that for whatever reason. And they get into where Rogue just beat them. Like Rogue just beat them straight up. Wonder has the worst split of his career, you could say, so far. And so if you want to talk about like, does G2 have like, is G2's legacy over? In a way, yes, like it's downgraded, but next split, either they win or Carlos has to consider like
changing up the roster finally.
Well,
because this is one of the topics I had before we actually covered G2. My boys getting knocked out. So did G2 fail based off the expectations? I'm gonna say yes. The expectations were for them to come in and stomp. Now they have a better ADC. They have pretty much the best players in every single position, quote unquote, before the season started. So they're all pre-expectations. I think, yes, they did fail. Reckless doesn't want to get there. Reckless went to this team to win because he was just destroying him a Fnatic, and now Reckless went to G2 and sabotaged G2 to win. Oh, man, the parallels and irony here is absolutely insane.
So besides the narrative, so I completely agree that some of the narratives are valid and should exist in terms of they lost a clutch factor in Perks. Reckless, let's be honest, he played pretty well, right? Like we're not actually going to be flaming him for losing this series.
We're gonna flame the LEC community is getting flamed with that all-pro pick. Woo! We're gonna touch on that after this.
Okay, but he's not the reason they lost the Rogue series.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, he was their best player all playoffs. Honestly.
So then, I genuinely would like to understand more about the Karma pick. If so, and I know that no one here has the answer, but if someone actually has like an explanation from LS or something that they can link me at some point, I really want to know.
Pick?
Yes, no, I'm not being facetious. I'm genuinely curious because what I saw from the Karma pick was like, okay, you pick Karma, you play something like a Nocturne jungle or an AD jungler, and you just are supposed to dive on the comp with Karma, E ult, as your main source of engage. So maybe some players with Karma, Moonstone, and Scrims were using this as like a engage tool. But every single time I looked at the comp, I would get completely confused as to how exactly they would make it work when the enemy team just had a Thresh. Who's the Nocturne supposed to ult?
I think
if the Thresh Lantern just pulls them away.
I think the Karma is supposed to kind of work like how you remember that bot lane that used to have it wasn't a cheese. It was like I think it was Lux and what's that champion? Sona. So it's like Sona Lux where like Karma gives you shields, she gives you engage, and you're kind of supposed to like, those shields, like as the game gets on, those shields get huge, man. Like it's almost ardent meta in a sense. So I get is
the point to play her with a hyper carry ADC? Like who's supposed to carry the game when you have a Karma top? Is it supposed to be the jungler or is it supposed to be the ADC? Because I'm assuming it's not the mid, because the mid probably needs to be the one roaming with the.
Like because we're talking about was that game 2 with the TF. Or are we talking about? I think it's game 2 and game 4. It's game 2 and game 4. It looks like that. It's
so conceptually, TF does make sense to me. Conceptually, TF does make sense with the Karma, because you're trying to use the Nocturne to force plays on the other side of the map, which is probably the bot lane. What did they pick ADC that game? Forgot.
Jen.
Yeah. So see, now that doesn't make sense to me, right?
Yeah, no, I don't like Reckless going on a utility ADC when they really need something much with a much.
Yeah, I'd rather have Karma mid, honestly.
Yeah, from what I understood about the Karma pick and why it blew up, in my opinion, in this series or in every series that it was played in, is that Karma is supposed to be a counter to the Renekton, but it doesn't actually counter them in a team fight. Because Renekton has more agency to just be able to flank and get onto the back line. And Karma is playing with the rest of her team, but the rest of her team can't actually go in. Because when Nocturne ults in, Thresh just lanterns whoever Nocturne ulted away, and then Nocturne just dies. This happened in the C9 series as well, if you remember. They played Fudge with Karma top. Blabber was on Nocturne, and he kept diving Aphelios over and over again, and Core JJ would just lantern him out. So I don't know if it was just like in scrims they just got a bad read, or if the Karma players in both of these situations, Fudge and Wonder respectively, just don't know how to play the champion at a high level. And I genuinely don't know. But what I saw was a Wonder that did not look anything like the Wonder I thought was capable of showing up to either this series or the series they lost against Mad Lions. Both times there was a weird draft prio from G2 to pick this Karma early on in the draft and draft around it as if it was the primary carry. So to EO's point, they tried to play the top. They tried to play this Karma style to top lane, and it didn't work at all. So I don't know whether to...
Yeah, and that's in the Rogue series. Because otherwise they gave, in the Mad Lion series, they had Karma
ADC.
On ADC for the first 2 games, and then they felt like give him a real ADC in the 3rd and 4th game.
But, right, exactly, and that's why they almost.
What I think going back to their win that they had against Rogue earlier on with the where they had where they finally got Seraphine and that huge meatball comp that just surprised everyone with how it outscaled.
Schalke?
Yeah, it was against Schalke. Yeah. I think is that they actually look at as Karma as like a light Seraphine. And there's
hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, Brad?
What's up, Raviola?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. Some confusion.
All good. We're rolling.
Yeah. Where are we at? I'm sorry. Just where are we at right now?
Jump on in once we get the gap for you.
Right,
so what I think G2 ends up looking at Karma as a soft Seraphine option that should enable the same idea of having a bunch of thickies like the Gragas, the Trundle, and the Alistar, supported by a Karma with like Moonstone and Chemtech Putrefier, and then the Lucian mid. So I see the game 2 against Mad Lions in the winners finals as an attempt for them to do the same thing as they did with the Seraphine, but I just don't like Karma just doesn't do what Seraphine does as good as Seraphine does.
And that's exactly what I thought, EO.
No.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought that the whole Karma pick was. And then I saw all these random ass drafts where they're not picking the tanks. Like they're picking TF mid and Nocturne jungle and Blitzcrank. Like I was like, and I tried my best to find LS's take on it, and he was excited as hell to see the draft. He was like, "Oh, Blitz is great here. This is fantastic. This is like a amazing draft win." And I was like, "Okay, why? I still don't get it. Why? Where's the draft win? Because from the first minute of the game, I didn't see the value of the Karma pick ever in any of the games. So yeah. Anyways,
I actually agree. A lot of people like LS and other experts, experienced players, former challengers or pros seem to like the Karma pick, but it just seems to me like this isn't backed up by any hard numbers, but of course I can probably look at the win rate. It just seems that anytime you pick Karma in any role other than support in pro play, she just very rarely actually gets to the point of power you need her to be.
Did he cut?
Yeah, for me. Yep.
Okay, he hard cut for me too.
Yeah.
Ravi, fix your shit.
The Ohio internet killing you, man.
Right, something like that. I think I can carry his point until he comes back, and he can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that the issue. There he is. There he is.
I see what happened.
Did you mute yourself?
No. So I'm on my phone because when I connect on my PC, I can't mute myself when I want to. So my phone literally went. I clicked. I turned it. I said, yeah, whatever.
That's fine. Yeah.
Anyway, the Karma. When did I get cut? When I said the
Karma doesn't reach a certain point that like she can carry.
She doesn't. She very rarely reaches the point where she gets the stats and the power to do what they want her to theoretically do. Be a shielding machine that just makes your team have a lot of chase potential, disengage potential with the mantra Qs to deal decent damage and whatnot. And be this tank, right? It just seems like she never reaches that point in about, I'd say 70% of games she's picked in. And she always just ends up being this suboptimal thing that shields you for a bit, but is unable to fulfill the role that that teams draft her for.
So my thing is that whenever I see a Karma pick, I just automatically assume that team with Karma is gonna lose.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
I'm like, this pick provides nothing. Like, I get maybe they're trying to like switch some shit up, which is fine. I always am employing for diversity and switching shit up. But if you're trying to switch shit up and it's not working, you probably gotta stick to what you gotta play, man.
Yeah. I just like every time I see a Karma top, I'm just like, is this really better than picking like a Scion, a Malphite, a Cho'Gath, Urgot? Or if you're looking for an Enchanter, a lot of times I'm like, why not just put her in the support role? I mean, supports can actually build moonstones and shit nowadays. They can actually build items in the bot lane. It's not season 2 anymore. I just don't obviously not going to be as powerful, but I feel like you could actually use that top, like say the top lane slot or the mid lane slot for a real carrier tank. I don't know.
And the only reason why I brought this up and made a big deal about it is because personally, I thought that G2 lost the series. I personally thought that G2 lost both the series that they lost. I would rank the reasons as number 1, draft. Number 2, a lack of understanding of how their team comps are supposed to function together. And then number 3, players underperforming. That's my take on it. I really don't. I agree that Wonder underperformed, but I've never seen G2 be the ones that come into a draft so unprepared for exactly how it's supposed to play out. Usually they're the ones with the counter pick pikes and the the Kog'Maw lanes down.
Maybe they just got complacent. It's one of those things where maybe they just got complacent. Maybe they did. I think they got
a terrible read. I really do.
It could be that too.
Well, yeah. I actually think it's both things. I think G2, their tendency to sort of play it loose in games, right? To fall behind, but they always seem to in the past, kick it into that extra gear to overcome, you say, a suboptimal draft or suboptimal early game to just outplay their opponents. I think just Rogue was good enough that they were just good enough to not let G2 back in. I think G2 is just sort of underestimated their opponents.
Yeah, I do not want to in any way discredit Rogue at all. I want to make that very clear that they played an extraordinary series, and this was the first series ever where I did not think for a second that Caps was taking over any games. Larson and Inspired especially deserve immense credit. Inspired played some of the best games I've seen him play in his life. I didn't think there was a chance in hell that a team constructed the way that Rogueware could ever take down G2.
It's just the issue that a lot of people have is where because people have a favorite going into a best of 5, right? And the issue here is people can't let their biases go to be like, well, yes, G2 played bad, which is a fair assessment to make, but Rogue also played well themselves. Two things can happen at the same time, guys. It's very possible.
Yes. Absolutely. Rogue proved that they are not a tier 2 EU team. It's not, Fnatic and G2 anymore. Both Mad Lions and Rogue are obviously every bit as good as G2 and obviously better than Fnatic at this point. And I think EU has finally the talent is not just being hoarded by G2 anymore. The rest of the league has caught up by being forced to basically chase after them. I think it's a little bit like how Cloud9 was last year at NA. How Cloud9 was just dominating the league.
Yeah. You heard Sven say, hey, man, if they went to MSI, they might have got a reality check that could have been really beneficial for them later on.
Yeah. Granted, I do think Cloud9 last year probably would have done pretty well because they were literally built for that meta at the time.
True.
And the meta changed. The meta changed. They probably wouldn't have won it, but I think they would have been competitive. Regardless, not relevant to the
no, it pans out perfectly. Well, it pans out perfectly because Rogue choked when it mattered because Rogue were 2-0 up.
Well.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, once again, Mad Lions had a hell of a time, had a hell of a game.
Yeah,
but
the last thing I want to talk about before we go to Rogue and Mad finals is G2 are out, guys. This is a very uncharted territory. G2 are out. So what do they do before we get to summer for LEC 2021?
I would say one, they need to have a sense of humility when they go in, because first of all, if I'm a G2 fan, I should have been worried since the Schalke series. The Schalke came in 6th. They picked the team and they still lose. That is not good. That is not good. If you pick a team and they almost beat you, that's not good. Like, I already called that. I was like, oh, G2's not doing it because Reckless has never been a leader. They need to establish who their shot caller is going.
They might have got Reckless for being a leader, but Reckless says he's not a leader.
Before you ask that, I will ask this question just real fast. It's a short question. In the same vein that Rogue and Mad Lions are better than we thought they were, is Schalke better than we thought they were?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'm sure that leads in. I'm sure
No, that actually locks in our top 4 really, because between Schalke, G2, Rogue, and Mad, that's like the clear. That's the clear top 4 with like Mad and Rogue like fighting for top 2.
Armud has a dog shit champion pool. If he faces someone that can play versus Gnar, any good top laner, he is fucked.
What?
Okay.
Like Wukong and carried. What?
Yeah.
I can't pronounce your name. I'm just gonna call you. I'm just gonna call you. I'm just gonna call you Hamza. Fnatic and G2 will be back. Don't worry, the Kings are returning. But my counter argument to that is you can't always expect that, though. You can't always expect people.
Now we can always expect that. Okay?
Well,
I still don't. I still think that there is a level of romanticism that is valid, considering a team like TSM, like G2, like OG orgs being so successful so often for so many times in a row. You just have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, until TSM doesn't make finals, you believe that they will make finals, right? Like, we didn't expect Clutch Gaming to be the ones that first got TSM out of finals. Like, it just makes sense. I don't regret choosing G2 purely based on non-analytical elements.
Yeah, I agree.
No, what I'm saying is that, like, for G2, like, the problem with G2 and Fnatic is that, first of all, this is healthy for the region, right? Because I'm tired of seeing G2. Like, Hamza said,
teams like Rogue.
Like, Hamza's like, yeah, the King. Like, I don't want it to be the same King. I want when there's like, just like the NBA Finals, I don't want to see the same teams there. I want to see new teams, because then that means you draw in more crowd. They're like, okay, you've just built up a new fan base now, because now people are like, oh shit, this
the
team's
only
good.
thing I disagree,
You know?
like, I never cared that it was only Fnatic and G2. I don't know why people always tunneled on that. If they're the best team you can send, I want
but that was a narrative that's built by the broadcast too.
But they're not wrong though. Like, they're not wrong though. And like, there was a stupid girl that was going, finals and EU are not exciting with G2 and Fnatic always winning. You should always want the best team. You should always want the best team going.
Right. Here's the thing. Yes, you want to send your best team, and G2 and Fnatic always going to the finals is fine, but you need to see the rest of the region actually punch back. This is not a popularity contest, dude. This is like
That's not
what I'm saying.
Ravi's with us. Ravi's with us on this.
I'm with you. I'm saying yes, you send the best team, and if it's G2 or Fnatic, yes, you send them. I'm just saying, for the growth of a region, I want to see the other teams step up on their own merits. That's all I'm saying.
If randos want to complain about how none of their teams are good, I please take that up with the teams that are bad. Please.
Exactly.
Please stop getting mad at those that are successful, because they've done the hard work. They've spent the money to actually risk and and become good. I am. Please stop wasting our time with trying to give trophies to victims. I'm not.
And I have a thought.
He said he picked Wukong, a horrible champion, against a tilted team, getting sweeped. If he plays any competent top laner, he will be called a turd by his fellow Turkish man. About which team?
I have a.
It's a bad take.
Can I just have fun with the Wukong?
That's a bad take.
Go ahead. I do have a. It's sort of it's a topic shift. So have your point here, but I sort of have a little thought I want to shift the topics after this.
I got you, Ravi. Mac pointed this out in his interview that he had with Monty and Thorn, and that Armut looked at the laning situation and he was asked by Mac, hey, how's Wukong into Karma? And Armut's like, unplayable. Pick it for me. And then they get to like middle of the game, and Karzi's asking Armut, hey, how's that Wukong Karma top lane going? And he's like, doomed. And then he basically 1v2s the back line of Rogue, and they win the fucking series. So you can have your own different calibers. How is Armut going to go up against the best in the world in top lane? Sure, but if he's able to survive through a shitty laning phase as Wukong, and then 1v2 the back lines, great.
Like, you know what the key of that point is, by the way? Yeah. The fact that he is willing to understand that there are certain L's that he needs to take to get his team to the finish line.
That's a championship mentality.
Exactly. He understood, by the way, that that's the same thing that most people understood. Ottawamne was not making the most out of laning. He was performing in the team fights. So Armut realized that in order to gap that differential, he needs to be much stronger in the team fights. Ottawamne is not going to smash him in lane. So yes, Wukong doesn't do well in lane, but Wukong is perfect for the setup that Mad Lions were looking for. So I completely agree.
Well, you almost, and this is going to be a slight tangent, and Ravi, I haven't forgotten you. This is where you almost get to say, like, Ottawamne is not actually a carry top laner. He's a fantastic weak side. It's almost like he's almost like an impact of EU, in that you don't expect this player, if he's given such an advantageous situation, such as the Karma into the Wukong, he's not going to dumpster the shit out of him and like be taken turret like 10 minutes in or something like that. So you almost get to sit there and say, you know, we don't have to play to me. Like, we can just have like a double weak side top situation. I survive as Wukong. Odo is not going to dumpster me like some of the Shy would. And then I get to be far more viable on flanks in the later game team fights.
I'm going to...
Ravi?
He said it's flawed. He said it was flawed because he doesn't 1v2 the backline because he outplayed them. Hansama walked up for no reason.
I'm here to talk to my co-host, not the chat on that crap right about now. Ravi, you're up.
Right, all right. So I have a thought. So for the longest time, it was a two-man.
I'm going to pull up a timestamp, by the way.
Go for it.
Not what happened.
All right, great. So for the longest time in EU as a region sort of quote unquote developed by having two basically super teams, right? As their front runners. Those teams keep getting better and better, trying to race with each other. And that is essentially how we saw Fnatic in G2, you know, become teams that could reliably get out of groups and get, you know, to semis or even in sometimes finals at Worlds, right? That's basically how they did it, by having two super teams who continuously fought with each other to improve, right? And now I feel like the region has reached a point where more teams have reached their level. Sure, G2 might this split have underperformed a bit, but I think Rogue and Mad Lions have proved that they have reached, you know, G2's level of talent and skill, which means they could probably do pretty well internationally, I think, right? So that's basically the way that Europe has developed to this point. My question is, do you think that North America, entering basically this era of Team Liquid, Cloud9, then sometimes TSM, not really TSM, but basically Cloud9 and Team Liquid being these two super teams that are continuously building to try to outdo each other, right? To acquire more talent, more skill, more game knowledge, execute better. Do you think that will have a similar effect in North America, where the rest of the teams will have to try to catch them and that will improve North America as a region?
I'll go first. Go
ahead. Go ahead.
I actually think we saw a little bit of it this season, because like we had Dig that wasn't supposed to. I think Dig did fine. We had more teams that like quote unquote we saw teams underperform, and I think that's all to do with cohesion and how we were gonna play. But let's be real, we had 6 teams that had pretty good records towards the end, and I felt like it was a little bit more competitive than most splits. We didn't have to have big. We weren't relying on big names anymore, and now the new. It wasn't like a passing of the. It wasn't new kings, but it was like new kids on the block. More of a sense. Like these are new kids.
Well,
there's no Bjergsen. There's no double lift. There's no other sort of relics left.
There's Jensen.
Oh, I mean Jensen still isn't he?
Outside
young
of like
still?
what? Outside of like Jensen and
Impact-
Sunday
Impact-
and maybe
Impact-
Impact.
I guess
And-
Perks is a king in just a new kingdom, I would say, of the old days.
See, when
And
they
it's
conquered
his
another
now,
region.
and it's
Right,
his
getting
kingdom
there.
now.
Right. Here's the thing.
Again,
I'm not saying that Cloud9 and Team Liquid are necessarily as good as, like, say, Fnatic and G2 were the last couple of years. I'm not saying that at all.
By their region,
I'm saying,
By their region they are.
I'm just saying the structure looks very similar. Is what I'm saying. And what I'm asking is, I think we probably will see a similar growth pattern for the region because it's structured the same. Everyone's trying to be catching them, and they're going to have to. They're going to have to work to get as good as them. And obviously, Cloud9 and TL are not just going to rest on their laurels because they know they're underdogs internationally, which is what their objective is. Cloud9 more than TL, I think, because Cloud9 has actually done well internationally, right? They probably aren't going to be. Cloud9 is not going to be satisfied with simply going to Worlds.
No.
They're probably not even going to be satisfied with getting out of groups. I think Cloud9 is the exception in North America, where their goal is probably getting to semis at Worlds. Getting to semis, and then or getting to finals. I think that's when you're an organization that has gone to a certain step. Obviously, your goal for the next season, for the next year, should be taking another step, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that is Cloud9's goal. I think that's what they're building towards. I think that's what will satisfy them as an organization. And I think that's incredibly good for the region. The thing is, Team Liquid needs to reach the point where that is also their goal. Because if you remember, with Double Lift leading that team, it wasn't getting to semis or getting to finals because they got the semis. It was just getting out of groups, which I feel is a terrible team mindset to have. They need to reach basically the rest of North America needs to reach Cloud9's level of basically their goals.
I mean,
they need to take the first step, and then they need to take the next step. And I think that sort of just leads into, I think North America is going to be entering the same stage of their development, at least without the base that Europe had with their developmental programs,
the regional leagues and stuff.
Yeah. They're missing that, but I do think, as far as the overall talent of the region through imports, they're going to be entering basically the same stage that EU entered. 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
Yeah. You could say in 5 years from now, NA could be where EU is today.
Yeah, which is an outside shot to maybe winning it if they have say Cloud9 or TL is as good as G2 was last year or the year before.
That's assuming the rest of the leagues don't improve and stay at the same level.
Right.
Here's
That's the assumption. Yeah.
I'll help your point. So I think that using C9 as a template for how to build a roster is the right idea. This is what I mean. I don't mean, spend $11.75 million on your player and then you're gonna.
Yeah.
What I mean
that's unsustainable.
What did they have to do before they spent that? They built a roster from scratch, and from their academy, they built an amazing academy system that attracted amazing talent. They scouted players like Blabber. They scouted players that were as good as Vulcan, and then they made the moves, like Licorice, and they made the move when they needed to. So they wouldn't have gotten perks. They tried to get caps, if you remember. They tried to get caps.
They did.
Back when they didn't have the rest of the pieces around caps to make that an attractive offer. The only reason Perks is here today is because the rest of the team, minus Fudge, was built to bring him in. Yeah. So if NA wants to bring top talent, not mediocre mid-level talent from EU
Yeah.
over to NA.
Yeah,
You follow
but
C9's example by
Mhm.
finding your core NA talent, cultivating it to a point where it's comparable to the top EU talent, and that's when you swing for the fences and
yeah,
throw all your money in. You
Yeah.
don't do, personally, and I'm sorry, Warren, to use TSM as an example,
I don't care.
but I don't think you do what TSM did, which is, we're building a roster from scratch. Let's get a big name import as the building
Well,
block.
to be fair,
Oh yeah.
They did lose a ton. They lost. I still think Bjergsen had stuff still left in him, but I understand he was burnt out, and I respect when someone wants to quit from any sort of sport.
No,
But-
my
PO is
point was only
comparable.
that I think that
Right.
TSM
think
could
they-
have benefited from a rebuild from
Mhm.
NA players
Here's-
and
yeah.
found their core group of NA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think Perks would have joined any other North American team, to be completely honest.
No.
I think the only reason he joined Cloud9 is because he saw like they're an organization. No, they're an organization that is capable of going deep at Worlds.
I think it was coaching
They are-
staff
they
and
are-
players. He saw
Well, it's that-
Ben and
It's
Mithy.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that. Well, it's that, and the fact that I feel like internationally to other regions, sure, North America is seen as a weaker region, and not as strong as the rest. But I feel like there's at least a level of respect for Cloud9 because at least they go into that these competitions
I want to
and actually are capable
Yeah,
of
because last
beating
point,
teams.
we got to talk about this best of 5. We are.
Yeah, I'll defend. Since I'm the C9 fan, let me take this on the chin here, Warren. I don't think that's the case. I think that if TSM or Team Liquid also had an amazing roster, that amazing players from other regions would join that roster. I agree that the C9 mystique is there, and I love it for being there as a C9 fan because they do well internationally, and I think it does have something to do with the org's development of talent. But I don't think that is a predominant reason why players like Perks come. You can use Alfari as an example for the counter argument.
Well, okay. Although Alfari, all right. So I'm not as well versed in the pound for pound who's the best in their role in EU as much as I am in NA. But Alfari also
Alfari was number 2 behind Wonder on G.
Okay. I thought I didn't know if Whippo was considered ahead of him or not.
No. Dude, that's just Fnatic fans who suck his dick as fucking their eyes.
Okay.
All right,
gotcha. All right,
So
I
I
might have been a tad overzealous. But
no, it's fine. I want to make sure we cover Mad versus Rogue. So this is the first time in a very long time EU finally has a new winner. So there are people in the chat that's saying, "Oh well, if Mad Lions are going, definitely they're gonna have some trouble." I mean, it's one of these things where we don't know because people are comparing them to their last year roster, right? Well, this is a different team though. It's two different things. Let's be honest here. This is a much different team than that, right? These are not the same teams.
Too soft.
But 2/3 of the same roster are still going. That's a fair assessment to make. You'd be like, oh well, half of the same roster is still going.
I want to make out one point. I feel that I don't know who got MVP.
Oh, yeah, Kofka, go ahead. You wanted to cover? Yeah, go ahead, man. Sure.
No. I just wanted to bring up. I did find the timestamp for. There was a chat comment earlier saying Han Sama walked in for no reason, and
yeah, sure, let's go over it.
Wukong kills.
He said we're gonna need a VOD review.
1v1.
Well, because he said we need to VOD review. Here's the VOD.
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know exactly which comment the chat was referring to, but I wanted to set it up at this point where you guys can look at this and clearly see that. Because Dragon is gone, they need to set up around top side, right? Getting top turret is going to open up the rest of this game. Both teams really care about this side of the map right now, and you're going to see a bunch of skirmishes break out. Now, before the entire fight starts, you should see that it is Mad Lions that have the vision control. They don't this entire jungle quadrant is completely blind except for the people that are lighting it up. So when you see Varus here, he needs to get to that wave in order to do anything, and he's assuming that as Rift is spawning, what are they doing? They're going towards top lane. But Wukong is not going towards top lane. He's cutting off the Varus as he's approaching the turret. My question to the chat would be, why would he anticipate that? Maybe he should have. It's a legitimate thing. But why is that a point of blame for Hansama rather than a point of praise for Wukong being in that situation to capitalize.
I almost see that.
people
I
only
almost see
see
that
one
as
thing.
I see that as a throw by Rogue for them not agreeing to go up and let Hansama catch that wave. You send two people up there, that's not going to happen. But that looked like Hansama was going ahead of the team's, hive mind call, you could say.
I don't even think the rest of the team was backing off. I think they all were going there, and they literally were just like, of course, Rogue is going to go the long way around to the turret.
Yeah, and Wukong gets the soft assassin.
Yeah.
I want to say this as an overall statement about this series.
He even wards it, right? And then he's backing off, and he gets flashed on. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Credit to Mad Lions for taking advantage and playing well enough to win this series. However, I have to say that I don't think it's unreasonable to say that Rogue absolutely bungled winning this series several times.
There's two different ways
they should have won this on two separate occasions in two different games. In game 5,
the Baron
they lost with up 6K. When they lost the game in the team fight where they lost, they were up 6,000 gold.
Yep.
Well, put that into perspective. I have actually never seen that before. In a regional final, a team up 6,000 gold lose the team fight and immediately lose the game.
Did you watch the DSM series?
Which one?
Against TL.
Against TL. Yeah. All right, I said in a finals. I said in a finals. In a finals.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. That's true.
And also TSM has done that all season long, where they've into the way leads.
Warren enough.
Here's the thing. It wasn't just that game. It was also game 4. In game 4, they did the same thing. They were up 6.
In game 3, they had a Caitlyn pick. They had a commanding lead the whole game. They kept giving over Orianna. They kept losing to it. At that point, if your team can't play against a champion, take it away. I don't care if it's a simple champion at all. Just take it away.
Well, it's not even about them being unable to play against the champion. They were playing against the champion. They were beating the champion. The problem is, for some reason, Rogue at about 25 minutes into all of these games, just for some reason, forgot how to set up for Baron. They forgot how to position it for team fights. They forgot how to push vision. For some reason, they just forgot how to fucking do that around when the 25-minute line rolled in to these games. It's honestly flabbergasting, because I don't usually like to say, "Oh, this team choked," and take away credit from the team that won. Yeah, but I feel like this is such an egregious example of a team absolutely choking.
This is maybe borderline win trading. I'm not saying they got that guys. I'm just fucking around, but that is crazy.
I feel like Rogue is actually the better team than Mad Lions.
They are the better team, though. Ottawame should have his first
Let him
title.
finish his point already.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I feel like they should. Yeah, they are the better team. But I think it's this situation where I don't know what to do to help them, because this seems like a fundamental problem that they as players have. That they have issues with pressure, apparently, to close out.
Say, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They seem to have an issue with just closing out at the most important moments. I feel like if they have issues going into a game as the favorites, and I've never seen. I just haven't seen anything like this. It's honestly baffling.
Well, I think that's where. What do you have, Warren? Because you haven't talked in a while.
No, go ahead. That's fine. I'll wait.
Okay, sorry. I'll toss to you. That's where I think there's a significant argument of would we prefer G2, Rogue, or Mad Lions going to MSI? Because Rogue choking like this at the finish line, basically 6K up, that doesn't spell very well for anything. And I don't think any of us have an exceptional amount of confidence for Mad Lions. Like it's the biggest
We as
challenging
an
question.
NA fans, or we as an EU fans?
as
Western fans.
Thank you.
As
Like
Rob.
his thing,
fans?
yes.
So, like,
I am a C9 fan. I'm an NA fan. But I also want to see EU do well because guess what? We're in this together. Because as much as
Alright.
as much as
with that
no. As much as NA is the underdog region, you know what? Truth be told, and here's the hard pill to swallow: Europe is not that far like ahead of North America as far as being. What the fuck? They're not.
They're not.
Europe is not close to Danwon. Europe is not close to the best Chinese teams.
Yeah,
they're just not.
G2 was, but
Yes.
Europe.
Yeah,
is
like
not.
G2 is
Guys.
the outlier.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, but why do we have to okay, so this is my biggest issue when we ever compare NA versus EU and stuff like this.
No,
We always compare the top team from region 1 to top team from region 2. No one here is sitting here saying TSM would beat any of the top 4 teams.
Well, I
in
think
EU,
we could
right?
all. I think we could all agree that like CLG would have no chance against XL or regions.
CLG would definitely
Yeah.
beat
So
Damwon, though.
we're talking about Team
CLG would crush
Liquid and
Damwon, right?
C9.
No,
We're talking about Team
no.
Liquid and C9.
No,
to compete
that's
with
not
top
what
4
I'm-
teams in EU or something like that, right?
No,
Fine.
no, it's not what I'm talking
No,
about.
let Ravi clarify. What are you going?
No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a region, as a whole. Like Europe is also an underdog region compared to Korea and China. They just are.
True.
They just are.
Not
Like,
compared
so-
to NA.
It doesn't matter. It
His
does
point
not
is-
matter.
His point is still valid. NA is not in this discussion right now. We're talking about the fact that LEC Europe is an underdog compared only
Yes.
to LCK and to China. That's all we're
But
talking
then
about.
you
right
were
now.
using that. But you were
No,
using
I'm
that
sa- I'm
argument to
saying-
say that
But the
Yeah.
only
No,
talking point is
there's
just
not much
G2,
difference between NA
No,
and EU.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because we are both underdog regions. Yes, North America is worse than EU. I'm not denying that. You'd have to be crazy to deny that. What I'm saying is we are both underdog regions. We are both Western regions. We should be rooting for each other to do well to beat those regions.
Yeah. Again,
That's all I'm saying.
I don't agree with that take
I don't
from
agree
a
with-
personal
no.
reason, but I if you want
I
to
don't-
cheer on West, go for it.
I just only cheer for the 2 teams that I like, which is G2 and
Exactly.
Mine. I give it. I
Exactly.
don't give 2 shits if
I
EU
mean-
does well. Why should we care about that? They don't. They all EU does is dunk on an A when they do bad, and then, like vice versa. So why should I
Dude,
care? if
there's
they do
not
well?
been a single Worlds where I've cheered for TSM. Okay, I
I'll
love
never
you,
do
Warren.
that.
I love you, man. But
I
listen,
don't give a fuck.
we got beat, right?
You need to, my
I
man.
will,
my
I will,
man.
okay, I will say one thing. Whenever NA, I cheer for the teams I like. If NA is there,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll
Okay,
just
I
cheer
mean,
for
go
them no
ahead.
matter what. Because
I mean-
I want to root for my region. Like I feel like I'm not obligated to, but it gives me like if I just decide, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna root for FPX, because it's just like, well, then I might as well just watch LPL and not even bother. I mean, not saying you can't, but
I mean, here's just my perspective. Yeah, sure. EU fans say, "Oh, they dunk on North America." You know who else dunks on North America? Other North American fans.
Yes.
Yeah, like everyone does that. We talk shit to each other. That's what we do.
Listen, dude, there's a difference between talking shit. Like, I'm not saying that Warren shouldn't be a TSM fan because his team sucks. That is not what I'm doing.
This guy just.
No, I'm saying that it's fun to say that TSM sucks. I would never hate on a TSM fan for being a fan of a team. There's a difference, right?
For
And
sure.
so from my perspective, I do not cheer for TSM because I don't personally feel invested in that team whatsoever, even being an
That's
NA fan.
and
No,
But
that's fine.
I will cheer for a team like G2 because I see a lot of elements in G2 that I can resonate with, similar to how I cheer for C9.
So this is
right?
how I see it.
So how whether or not
Also-
you're a fan of a team, you can be a fan of whatever you want, man. Like that,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
random, you know.
So this is how I see it. Why should I care if teams outside of like the teams for me do well? Well, what's the reason for that? I don't even like them.
Well, all right. So
And
look at it
even
this
though
way.
it's Western, even though it's like Western, right? Why?
Mhm.
Why? Like,
Why?
what's the reason to do? Also, to be fair, a lot of the
Mhm.
EU. This is like the reason why EU is a little bit more different than NA. Most of our better players come from there too. Like, did Perks not come over here from EU and win a title just
Sure.
right now?
Yeah, sure. You know,
could Bjergsen go from last year, go to EU and win a title? I highly doubt it. I just don't think it's possible.
Anyways,
I don't know.
Pretty far.
Yeah, but
that's a divergent. Anyway, I want to clarify because I got sort of into it. From my perspective, it's just from my perspective. I like to root for the West because they are the underdog. We are the underdogs, and I like to see the perennial kings, the perennial powers get knocked down. I just like to see that because it gives hope to us in North America. Europe wasn't that long ago pretty much where we're at right now. As far as talent wise, it wasn't that long ago where they weren't that much better than us.
I just think that we're all NA fans talking about this in here. And that's what's it's kind of an unrepresented argument right now. Let me tell you straight up, the only reason why we can say this is because our teams suck. Okay. If from an international standpoint, we are not close to EU in terms of success and in terms of accolades. So to sit here and say that, yes, we're both underdogs, I think it's a completely unfair argument because, yes, they're underdogs compared to the Asian teams, but not like we're underdogs. They're underdogs in the sense that they can actually sometimes take games off of the greatest teams in the world. And G2 has shown the ability to do so. I mean, we aren't close. Outside of C9, getting lucky in a quarterfinal draw by drawing Africa Freaks, we have not shown any semblance of success at an international event.
They did beat RNG in that same tournament, who was the best team in China for the entirety of that year. I'm just saying.
I don't know, dude, because RNG didn't play. Like, I'm not going down that road. The
but
issue
they didn't win a best
it was a meta
against
problem.
RNG. They didn't win a best of 5 against RNG.
RNG was massively underperforming here. Come on, like, they were massively shitting the bed here. Come on, what are we doing here?
No, I'm saying
this is what I wanted to say about the Mad versus Rogue series. And then I'll cover that last point. Karzi was getting pretty hard gap by Han Sama there. So how's this guy gonna fare internationally? Han Sama was beating him. Literally, go back and watch. He was getting it was pretty bot diff there. And Trimby's not that good. Trimby was kind of helping Han Sama out, which is fine. It's a bot lane duo, right?
Yeah. So I think that's the fun argument. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. I can't wait to see
Karzi
C9. No, I can't wait to see if we can get a best of 5. This is like the most in favor of NA best of 5 series that we would possibly get this year. I mean that genuinely because outside of Fudge, I still don't know how he's going to perform. I believe that you have the best Western player of all time on the best international performing team that NA has ever produced. You can't really get much better than this outside of Fudge becoming a god tier player.
Yeah.
So I really want to see how it goes because if we can't beat Mad Lions, I think that's just a nail in the coffin for this whole NA versus EU discussion period.
Wait. That's not a discussion right now. Honestly, I don't think.
The other thing I wanted to tackle.
No discussion.
The other thing I wanted to tackle was the whole underdog. So, like, they're an underdog in the way that, like, okay, so it's like this. A simple argument. Showmaker is better than Caps. Caps is not a bad mid laner, but Showmaker is just better. So it's kind of like that. Like, they're just not as good as the other two are. They're not really an underdog. They're just not as good.
I mean, we're saying they're not huge underdogs, but what happened last time G2 went to the world's finals against
but FPX were no, but dude, that's been an
beat
unfun
SKT.
No, but like to be fair, if anybody watch LPL that split, right? FPX, the reason why they didn't go to MSI that year was because they got upset by JDG. FPX were a good team all year. They've got first place in both regular seasons.
Wait, no, I was talking about. Okay, go ahead.
It's the same thing. It's more like yes, they did lose at the finals, but to be fair, it's like
they got 3-0. They got destroyed.
But they were worse than FPX, though. They were just the worst team.
They got to the finals. What do you mean? We've never gotten even close.
Being to the finals is great, man. That's
not about. Oh my god!
They won MSI.
Sorry, Ravi, you're not gonna be able to get out your point for it to be clearly articulated. Give it a second.
No. Honestly, this isn't. It's not. No, it's not. Oh, you're either not getting it because it's not about North America. None of this is about North America. It's really not. It doesn't matter.
saying-
It doesn't matter. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Like, we're spending way too much time on this rather than talking about the series itself. So we should actually just talk.
We're talking
Yeah.
series. I mean, we're pretty much good to go.
I mean, all I wanted to say was that I just want to say that I think it was a weird take, but I believe that Armut was the most key component too of Mad Lions this entire split.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like he performed well against Whippo. Did he go? Yeah, I believe yeah. No, they didn't. They didn't play it. No, he performed well against throughout the split. He pretty much went toe to toe with Wonder, which I think is good experience if you think about it going into the, because remember he came from TCL. TCL has now has produced some 3 players. They have more than 3 players. They've had Abadage, Caps, Whippo, Broken Blade, Blue, and Armut. Like, that's pretty good for a region that's quote unquote, which I hate to say, I hate that wild card region nonsense. I think they should just be a part. They should just incorporate them into major regions, but whatever. I digress. And then also let's give credit to Matt. Matt wanted to prove something from last year. They said, you know what? We went to an international tournament. They had high hopes. We struck. Okay, we beat the best team. We adapted. Yeah, I get it that Rogue should have won. But when you're in a situation like that and you're in the moment, you either know how to win hard or you know how to lose hard. And what do they say? And it's until the fat lady sings, right? And they kept their heads in for a team that Eliola is new to the LEC. Armut is new as well. I mean, in the sense to the LEC, not TCL, and they performed really well. And I'm actually confident because Mad lost a lot. Like, their record wasn't that impressive, but when you lose, you actually improve more in a sense that you're going over the VODs, you're seeing what you can do, and you're realizing what we work as a team. And I think that's what helped them adapt in the series. Also, as they went through the playoffs, I'm okay with sending Mad there. Like that. I mean, yeah, we just like.
They did. They earned it, right?
I mean, they earned it. So I'm not saying when you kind of hear like, I don't like Rogue would be better or they earned it. They beat the teams like G2 has a ton of veteran experience. Are we gonna deny that they don't? They haven't been in these best of fives. Rogue's been to a semifinal last year. In where they same thing, where they went best of 5 with G2. So it's like these teams are gradually improving. I'm okay sending them either or to go to MSI, and it's nice to see. So I think
it's also good for your region. It's also good for your region for other teams other than your perennial kings of your region to go to MSI and get experience against international opponents. It does help your region to sort of, spread the love a little bit, as it were. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to touch on, was just in simple, because we're going to end in like 5 minutes because I got to get to a stream for my main channel in like another 10 minutes. I got to take a shower and shit like that. So this is a joke. This is the reason why you do not have community vote for shit, because they're a bunch of biased people. All right, so if anybody has actually watched this past LEC 2021 Spring Split regular season, you'll know this list is some horse shit. Now, Wonder was not the best top laner, so I had him in my list, but not number 1. Yankos was clearly not the best jungler. That's Cap. That's, oh my god, what a you're a crackhead if you think that. Cap was there with Larson.
Caps is the only pick on this list that's not Cap.
Well, for me, I had Larson, but Caps wasn't my second team, which is fine. Caps is a fine pick. Reckless, also a fine pick. Mickey X, Kaiser, and Treats, and Kaiser Treats Limits all played better. What is this? People say Halo Sega and Whippo. Just shut the fuck up with those two. They did not play good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it should be.
What a bunch of fucking bias.
Yeah, your all pro. Your all pro team for your region should absolutely be a voting among your peers. Among the peers and the coaches within the organizations. That's what it should be. Like North America, for all its problems, at least has a proper system to pick their pros. It's not they're all pros. It's not perfect. It's not perfect because there is still some bias, but at least it's balanced out by the fact that all of the a lot of the people who are picking the All Pros have either A, played against the entire region, or B, have coached against the entire region, or C, it's their job to fucking analyze everything that goes on within the games.
It's one of these things where, like, letting the fan votes is so stupid. Like, okay, Otawamne is in my All-Pro team. These three are fine. These three are just fine. Hasama's there too. Hill is saying literally was not the second best support. You'd have to literally not watch to understand this. This is all pure fanboyism. Boypo, come on. What are we really? Arma and Broken Blade. We're gonna Otawamne. Come on, really? Broken Blade's up here a second. Get out of here, please.
Yo, Broken Blade, what's up, dude?
Broken Blade didn't even make it, and there's no Treats here, bro. Treats literally carried SK Gaming. What is this? That's how you can tell fans don't watch the other games, because you'll get lists like this. LEC, that is a massive L. Never let the fans vote again. This is a joke. I don't even count this. It's like, this is literally not existent. This
it's
is
community.
Just
it's community. I'm sorry, but go on.
Yeah,
like next topic. Like, community does what it's gonna do. Fans, it's Reddit. It's Reddit takes making a vote on who they think is gonna be the best.
The point I was trying to make is just never let the community do this ever, because this is just like it takes away from players that should be in their spots.
I don't
That's
get
the only sport
is this, like, affecting anything though.
No, I think I think they can do that, but I don't think broadcast should. Like, the wisest thing that can be done, if you're gonna want to have community involvement by having them do this popularity contest effectively, don't let it drive the narrative that broadcast runs. That's it.
I will say,
did they do that?
That's what I will say.
That's the only rule that you need to have. I don't think they did, but that's the only rule that I would have. Robbie?
Yeah. When I think about this, the only sport I can think of that literally has their all-star teams picked by the fans is literally is baseball. Baseball all-star teams mid-season are picked by the fans, although it's really weird, because in that situation, like, it's mostly a for the fans thing, but also the all-star game where those players who get picked have to play the game, which, if you didn't know this, that game has real consequences because it determines home field advantage for the World Series.
Wait, so I guess I still don't understand, because I didn't actually pay attention to this. Did they have only an all-star vote for the community, but there was no all-star vote for the experts and analysts and all that? Or are they two different all-star votes, and one is like a community all-star vote and one is a normal one? Like, I don't understand what the point of the community all-star.
Right. Yeah, I thought.
Are you talking about LEC, or you're talking about baseball?
No, LEC. Oh, are you talking about baseball? Yeah,
I'm talking about LEC. What's the point of?
I was, but when you brought it up,
The point was, there wasn't a separate all-pro team. They just let the fans pick the all-pro teams.
Oh,
The issue here is, like, you're taking away from players that actually did play well, but people didn't look at that. They just wanted to choose the best names. That was
right. And here's the thing. Being on an all-pro team is an accolade for a player's career. Like, it's not a title, but, like, if you look at the career, it's like, selected first team all-pro 6 times the career. That's a thing that eventually League of Legends will have a Hall of Fame, right? And that's going to be a criteria that people are going to look at when selecting players to go into the Hall of Fame, is all-pro teams, championships, and stats. If one of those 3 things is just a popularity contest, it sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? It just sucks, because you can't really trust those numbers in Europe's case, for this at least. Did in the past they pick it by community? This is the first year they've done this.
First time they did it.
Yeah, they can't do that again. Like I said, I think we can all agree here. There's going to be a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame cannot have community-based things like this as a part of the criterion for putting people in Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
It always comes down to, these things can be done, but it really needs to come back to who are the leaders, who's in charge, broadcast or the like, and how are they in terms of narrative. I know it's up in terms of narrative, in terms of history, in terms of Hall of Fame. Like, these things are, like, I have no problem with any of these community engagement ideas as a concept and as an activity, but I'm not interested in us taking them so seriously that we're going to have a giant discussion. It's like, hey, this is what the fans think. Cool. Moving on. Like,
you know what? Go Fisher Point.
I'm just gonna keep rambling. Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing: if you want to have a all-star team, the first team All-Pro, right? For like, all right, these are the official All-Pros. This is who gets the accolades. If you want to have a separate vote for the fans to have a fun, all-star break, quote unquote, team to have like a show match. Yes. Like sort of like how they did in NA before the dark times, before the COVID times at the end of the year, when they had, fan favorite players get picked on a team and they would have these show matches before Worlds started, right? That's a fun thing to do.
A fully fledged G2 roster that has comms and has communicated forever versus
right. But then they also throw in streamers and shit like that, and casters who used to be pros. They get thrown in there. It's a fun time. Honestly, a lot of those games in North America for their All-Pro or their All-Star matches, it was just fun time. Actually, one of the most fun game of League of Legends I could remember. Like it wasn't good. Was the OG TSM versus C9 show match? What was it, last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It was last year. That was fun.
I think,
shit like that's really fun.
Yeah, Captain Flowers got to commentate on that one, and he named the other team like Samsung or something like that.
yeah.
But that's TSM XD and still won.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, you can have the accolades. Make sure the accolades nominations and rewards are legitimate, but you can have your cake and eat it too, which is baffling why they don't do that.
The only thing I was bringing up was that they made the actual community voting for their All-Pro teams the actual All-Pro. It's like, come on here. If your community's fine, but like there's a difference here. But also, guys, that's pretty much it. So I'll just explain what we're gonna do in these next couple of weeks. So next week, when is MSI starting? When does the MSI start?
Like next month.
May.
Yeah. Okay, so
May. Oh my God.
May 6th. It starts.
So for next week,
C9 going to the hyperbolic time chamber, boys. Let's go.
So for next week, we'll just do like a wrap up of the season to just talk about the LEC and the LCS season. I think that's fair. And then we'll probably just take a week break and then come back for MSI fully prepped. I mean, I don't know what you guys want to do. I don't know if you guys watch LPL or LCK. I know I do.
LPL. I'd like to one of the weeks that we're not talking about like hard analysis for like the current, MSI and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun if we had a week where we just had a podcast reflecting on like the legacy of certain teams and certain players.
TSM. There we go.
Or like Cloud9, where we just talk about like maybe just have a fun time. Like, all right, so guys, we want to construct like the all-time best, let's say Cloud9 roster. So like we take a player from their prime and try to construct the best possible C9 team with all the players they've ever had in their prime. So maybe you say, okay, Sneaky in his prime is better, like comparatively to Sven, like right now. Probably not Sven in his prime, but C9 never had Sven in his prime, I don't think, when he was just dominating.
Yeah. No, that could be that could be a fun thought experiment for
sure.
Yeah, that's fun. We'll do a Legacy TSM one. Oh my God.
Legacy C9 versus Legacy TSM.
Oh, it's always fun.
And then at some point, I would love. I don't know if there's someone else that wants to do a super deep dive on pure analysis stuff, but I'd love to.
I'm down.
Yeah, I kind of want to make a game plan for C9 if I was their head coach and be like, this is what I would want to do. No,
like
this I genuinely like in terms of like
you guys
review games of Mad Lions, review games of Damwon.
Yeah, like, I'm all down for
that. Get down to brass tacks and be like, all right, guys, for the next hour and a half, we are going to construct a game plan.
Like a full Cloud9.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We're going to go in and we're going to try to give Cloud9 the best chance to win. We're not just going to fold and say, oh, well, if they get fucking busted, GG, better luck next year. We're going to be like, no, we have to at least try. Let's get in there, come up with a plan, and roll it out and see how it does.
The last thing I want to say before we head out, because I really got to go, which is we could also do player tier list, actually. Tier list for how all the teams shaped up. There's a lot of ideas. If you guys want to throw ideas to me to have shows before
we'll talk.
comes through in the off seasons, I'm all for it. You would always have to do this. I mean, we're always
hell yeah.
Just tell me some ideas and we'll do it. I know you guys have wives and shit, so you guys got to go.
Yeah, well, one last point. If Blabber pulls out Dr. Mundo Jungle at MSI, all I'm gonna say is I might have had something to do with it. I'm not gonna say anything more yet, but that's all I'll say.
And one last question: if Blabber beats Canyon and actually plays better than him in one of the games they play against Damwon, how hard is the pop off in this podcast and in North America? How hard is the pop off? Not even that Cloud9 wins, but he outplays him for one game.
And with that thought, we are going to
How hard is the pop off?
So see you guys next week where we do the LEC and the LCS wrap up. We will probably do a tier list somewhere in there. NA tier list, putting TSM right at S tier. It's exactly where we're going to put them.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Oh, if we did a player tier list, where would you guys put like Palafox or someone like fucking, I don't know, Insanity? Because our mid laners suck. Our mid laners suck really bad.
We got,
See you guys later. Goodbye. See you next week.